Chat, are we live?
We should be live. I'll wait for. I'm gonna look at the. I feel like I'm like a parent in the 1800s trying to see if the baby's alive. Whenever the stream starts, I'm like, show me a sign of life. Breathe, cry.
God.
There we go. I see it now.
I see live on our little thing. Okay, yep.
Aha!
Stream health. It's excellent, apparently.
Yeah, it is.
Congratulations, it's a stream.
It must not be a member of the skeleton crew. Where is...
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's it going?
There are at least 2 viewers in the chat right now.
2.
3!
One of them's me, but
2 non-Alexes.
Can we
Well, one of
get
them is Nathan.
4?
I like when it finally updates and tells me how many people are currently watching, because it's currently not telling me that.
No.
Who
Right
up
now I
Rex
see
and they
14.
Tylo? Absolutely. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
what's up?
How's everyone doing tonight? Is everybody excited for wet lizards?
When aren't we?
Very true.
I'm gonna immediately acknowledge the typo I noticed just now on the slide deck.
Michael
that-
J. Polson.
Michael Polson. Mike is doubled tonight. Actually, he asked me to send him the stream. I need to let him.
Double the Michaels.
The mic's so
Double the
nice,
fun.
they mic'd him twice.
Very good, Dalton.
Hey, everybody. Oh, we got Kirsten is here. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for allowing us to use your server for purposes of streaming. Just going to drop my
Which-
wallet on the floor here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I know what you're thinking, Alex. Hey, look at this. Wow, so many people.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Hell
And
yeah.
at least 41 concurrent viewers.
I'm seeing 50.
Well,
That's scary.
I guess you just get more of them than I do. They should make everybody, like, when they join the stream, they should have to say who their favorite member of the skeleton crew is,
No,
and then
don't
I should be
do
able to filter that.
James, have you considered that you should have had a crossover with Path of Titans for Nano Tyrannus?
I would have happily, but we were kind of trying to make sure that happened without everybody finding out, and then of course everybody found out when SVP failed to redact an abstract properly. Because if you color the text white,
Hey,
it's an impenetrable code.
if it was good enough for the Trump administration.
Exactly.
Lamau.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some future things. I have collaborations in mind. It's just that they need to want to do it too. But we'll see. Alex and everybody else here knows what I'm talking about. Some fun collaborations would happen.
We have people popping in here and already beginning to ask some questions. So
That is great. Well, so then this is a good time for me to say what I'm going to open this with, which is that to start this stream, Amelia is actually going to give a little talk. And this is, I think, stuff that she's talked about at prior conferences and things like that. So she's going to tell us all about Tylosaurus Rex and like key points and things we need to know about. Our plan is to rip at least this part of the VOD out and upload it as an independent video. So, a couple of notes. One is that we're going to try to not interrupt Amelia giving the presentation here. Like, just, normally during a stream, we'd be constantly taking questions and everything in the middle. Send questions that you have in during the time she's talking, and then at the end, she'll be able to answer any of the questions that you have. I assume all of the questions will be directed at her. So we'll answer questions at that point afterward. Then after we're done with that, we're going to switch to playing Path of Titans. And we're all really excited about that. And I went on last night to play as a Tylosaurus for a couple of minutes, and I saw not a single other living thing, and I was just swimming through a featureless watery void, and then I turned the game off. And I would like it to be more fun than that tonight.
I do also appreciate everyone in chat unanimously voting Vito the best skeleton crew member.
Yeah.
Vito is the best, yeah.
Jake and Elwood are very hurt by this.
Vito's not even the best Corleone.
Vito was featured in the AMNH's video they did with me because he had to jump up and sit on the back of my chair while I was recording. So they have a little arrow to him as well.
That's
incredible.
Wonderful.
I like that a lot.
This is not a text question. I just need to address it now. Northeast 1776 asked if we knew about Nano when we were making the T-Rex video. We did. Yeah.
We absolutely.
Hey, Northeast 1776. James, am I allowed to say that we've known about Nano for a very long time?
I think so.
Possibly.
Our knowledge of Nano goes from before we made the channel.
Oh yeah.
It was like 2020 or 2021.
It was 2021
Yeah.
when I realized,
Yeah.
We've known about Nano the whole time.
Yeah. I can't believe we never messed up.
No, we were good.
We were very good.
And you could say, in a sense, everyone actually knew about Nano the whole time.
It's true, in a sense, yes. But anyway, thank you guys for all joining the stream tonight. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see Amelia give her talk about Tylosaurus Rex.
Mhm.
Are we just about ready to get into that, everybody?
I think so.
I'm going to
Yeah,
grab a
let's do
soda
it.
during the opening, but then I'll be very happy to watch.
Soda.
Okay, so Amelia, just because, I guess to peek behind the curtain, everybody, I'm running the stream, and so I need to advance the slides. So Amelia, you either tell me to advance the slides or make some bizarre gesture when you need me to advance it.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm not used to doing that. I'll also note that Mike is in the chat and has commented on Michael. So
that's good.
Hey.
We're good to go. Okay. Let me take one last look at chat to make sure there's no catastrophes, and there's not. Okay, great, perfect. So I guess I'll roll into it. I didn't have much time to practice this talk, but this is work that I've been working on for literally 5 years. So I've had plenty of other times where I've given a talk about this animal and then forced everybody to not talk about it. And the last couple of times I gave it, I kept saying it'll probably be out in like 2-3 months, and then that kept not happening, which is fine. The publishing process takes a while, and there's a lot of moving parts and people involved, so it's all cool. It's all good because it happened. So let's roll right into it. Go ahead and advance.
Oh, sorry.
Next slide.
I wasn't ready. Yep, there we go.
It's okay. And then there's a delay for me. Okay, great.
Right.
So this is the cover page and the title page of the paper. It was published today, totally open access by the American Museum of Natural History's bulletin. So you can find it online. It's been linked in various posts about it, so you should be able to find it. Anybody can read it. Anybody can download it. And there actually will exist physical copies of it that you can request from the AMNH if you want. And I should be getting some of them also. So in the future, if you find me at conferences, I may or may not have one with me. So this was a collaborative work between myself, Mike Polson, who was one of my committee advisors for my PhD, and Ron Tykowski. So I want to say it was 2021-ish, give or take, when I first had a Zoom call with Mike, because at that time my primary advisor had fallen ill, and we needed to find someone to kind of help advise me on the reptile side of things, because the advisor who took over for me at the AMNH, Mung Jin, was focused on mammals. So I needed someone with a bit closer content to the anatomy of the animals that I was studying. So we had a Zoom call that was like 3 or 4 hours long. We covered a lot of ground. And this was actually one of them, and I don't entirely remember if at this point Mike told me I was onto something, or if he just kind of sat there and was weird about it, because this is something he had actually been working on since, I think if I remember the Nat Geo article correctly, apparently since 2010. So there's a lot of time and work that's gone into this project and making it happen. Next slide. So I've been telling people this work is essentially the sum of my entire dissertation research. During my time at the American Museum of Natural History in the Richard Gilder Graduate School, I visited 22 museums in North America and Europe collecting data from over 300 mosasaur specimens. And most of those were Tylosaurus. I think about just shy of half of them are Tylosaurus, because there's a ton of Tylosaurus in museums. Next slide. And so the data that I was collecting specifically was photographs, surface scans and photogrammetric models, and measurements, so a lot of measurement data. So these are on this slide, you've got the exact numbers of how many mosasaurs and how many modern lizards that I studied for my dissertation more broadly. But also a lot of this informed this paper specifically. And as you can see in the breakdown by group of mosasaurs, there are many more Tylosaurus that I studied than everything else. That is in part because I was focusing a lot of my research on them because they're a great study group. I'll talk a bit more about that in a little bit. But also because there are tons of them in North American museums, especially. I want to say they are the second most common mosasaur in North American museum collections. I don't remember the exact number, but that exact number will be published in a different paper that I thought would come out first, but it didn't, but it's fine. So if you have a sharp eye, you'll see that paper actually cited in this one somewhere. But anyways, I was broadly interested, next slide, in skeletal variation, so differences between individual fossils. In the fossil record in extinct animals, figuring out the difference between, or figuring out which differences are intra versus interspecific is really tricky because we don't have a lot of the data that we do for modern animals. So interspecific differences are differences between different species. Intraspecific differences are differences within one species. So things like ontogeny, sexual dimorphism, and individual variation. Next slide. So when we're dealing with extinct animals, we have a lot of things working against us on being able to tell these kinds of differences apart. So for example, we're usually missing genetic data. In fact, in most cases, we do not have the genetic data, which is what is primarily used nowadays to distinguish modern species. We straight up don't have that for many fossils because it doesn't last that long. DNA is very fragile. And so right from the get-go, we essentially cannot define a fossil species in the same way or with the same degree of certainty that we can a modern species. We also can't watch them grow up in real time because they're dead, they're fossils, they're static. So ontogeny is harder to understand. We can't always know what sex the animal was, if it was a male or a female, like unless it was a female that was pregnant. Like that's basically the only time you can be 100% certain that the animal was female. And even then, there's a bit of a challenge in figuring out sometimes whether the animals contained within the larger specimen are actually babies or if they're gut contents. There's ways to tell them apart, but it can be kind of tricky. We also don't always have the contextual data, especially when you're working with specimens that were collected over a century ago. They didn't always write down where they found them. So straight up, a lot of the mosasaurs you'll find in the North American museums, like if they were collected by like Cope and Marsh, you're lucky if it gives you a county, like where they were found. A lot of the times, like that's it. That's as specific as it gets. I think it's the Nepelicus holotype. Like Cope is like, I found it in this county in Kansas and the dirt was yellow. Like, okay, great, Cope. It's all chalk. It's yellow. Great. Thank you. Very helpful. So, you know, so we're kind of working from a disadvantage there already that they're not writing down where these things came from. Not that locality is everything, right? You can't know what species you have just because of where you found it. Like that's not biological data. It's contextual information. It is important. It can inform these decisions. But that's not everything. We're also limited in sample size with extinct animals. There's not going to be any more of them because they're extinct. So we only have as many fossils as have been discovered and then collected and then prepared and then made available to research. So there's many like stops where like the number of specimens actually available for research gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's not even including like the animal has to die and be buried and be preserved as a fossil for X million years. And then even then, most of the specimens that we have are incomplete or they're taphonomically distorted. With mosasaurs, like they're basically noodles. Like they're not super ossified in like their limbs, for example, but they're also scavenged by sharks and other marine animals. So like they wind up like exploded all over the place or like missing limbs and things. And then in the seaway, for whatever reason, a lot of them get like pancaked. They get flattened. And so like from an angle, they look gorgeous and like undisturbed, but they're really not. They're flattened and squished out and stuff. So we have to be super mindful of all of these variables when we're trying to understand fossil taxonomy. Next slide. So let me reorient myself here. So mosasaurs are a very diverse group. So I, in part, chose to study them because of this, because they have multiple lineages that have independently actually evolved these aquatic adaptations. So they're kind of like a really good system for studying a lot of broad biological and evolutionary questions. Tylosaurines specifically, I chose to focus on because there are tons of them. So next slide. Relative to the other groups of mosasaurs, they are just more common, except for Pliopletycarpines. There's thousands of those. But they are around for basically the entire time that mosasaurs exist for. So they show up about 95 million years ago and persist all the way to the Maastrichtian. Whether they actually make it out to the end of the Maastrichtian is unclear, if they actually saw the asteroid. But there are some relatively late species in Europe that do seem to pull through all the way. They're found around the world, primarily in North America, but they've also been found in Africa, in Europe, in Antarctica, Japan, I believe, and New Zealand. They are the first group to achieve large body size. So really early mosasaurs are relatively small, relatively small. They're like 10 feet long, which for a mosasaur is pretty small. For a lizard is already pretty huge. But Tylosaurines are the first to cross the 20, 25 foot threshold and become gigantic. They're also kind of odd in that we don't have, well, I guess not odd, but something that's interesting about them is we don't have an early Tylosaur yet. They show up and they basically look like they show up fully formed 95-ish million years ago, and they really don't seem to change throughout their history. So this is another reason that for me they were interesting as a study group, because they didn't look like they had a lot of variation. They looked all pretty similar. They're pretty conservative in their anatomy. They all have this bony extension on the front of their face called a rostrum. That is the knob of the Tylosaurus, the tylo of the saurus. So Tylosaurus means knob lizard. That's after that bony rostrum up front. Yeah, so I thought they were very interesting for a number of reasons. I just think they're cool looking as well. But they really are a great study system. Next slide. So I mentioned there's a couple different flavors of Tylosaurines, not as many as mosasaurines or Pliopletycarpines. But in short, there are 3 genera that are generally accepted, although one of them was recently sunk into Tylosaurus. So I'll start with the weirdos, the ones that I have in green here on the left. Those are Tyrannosaurus. They're found in the Pacific, so Antarctica, Japan, New Zealand. They're really odd. I said that Tylosaurines are relatively conservative for the most part. They're very different, actually. From a distance, you can tell that they don't look quite like the North American and the European species. And typically in our prior analyses of their relationships, we get them as the basalmost group, so the group that splits first. Then as you move up the tree, you get Tylosaurus proper, the type genus, as well as a couple of these other things. So these things that I've shown in blue, I have them as Tylosaurus here, but they were originally described as Hanosaurus, which is a separate genus. Hanosaurus was described from Hanosaurus bernardi, which is found in Belgium. Not very many of them, but they're pretty cool. They're huge and really long and kind of weird looking. But a couple of years ago, there were several papers that assessed them and decided that they were similar enough to Tylosaurus that they didn't warrant a separate genus name. And in these analyses, as you can see, they don't show up as monophyletic. They kind of wind up scattered all over the tree. So they were sunk into Tylosaurus, which is fair. So this is where we're at. Kind of try to keep a mental picture of what this phylogeny looked like, because it doesn't stay this way in this paper. Next slide. So in North America specifically, you have, again, 2 flavors of Tylosaurine. There are the Canadian, further north, things that used to be called Hanosaurus. So they're a bit larger, a bit chunkier, kind of odd, but not too bad. Well, they are too bad. They're freaks, but we'll get to that. But we're going to not really talk about them. They lived quite a bit later. But primarily when people talk about Tylosaurus, they're talking about one of these 2 species, Tylosaurus napilicus and Tylosaurus proriger. Tylosaurus proriger is the type species for the genus. It tends to be larger. It is the most common species of Tylosaurine, and it lived a bit later, so more in the Santonian, Campanian. Napilicus is less common, a lot smaller, and is older stratigraphically. There is a 3rd species, Tylosaurus kansasensis, that was synonymized with Napilicus because it was from the same rocks It was thought to be smaller and thought to be different ontogenetically, and we'll see how that shakes out. Pay attention to my citations once again in this paper. But we're not talking about Kansas today. We're talking about prorigor. So let's go to the next slide. So we're going to focus in on prorigor. Prorigor, like I said, is the most common tylosaurine in museum collections. It is the most published on also. It has a really long track record of having studies done on it. So it's really like theoretically a great model to use to understand other mosasaurs, right? So there's just been this assumption for the past like 2 decades that it is the best understood. It's the most common. It's the most published on. Let's use it as a model for our understanding of variation in tylosaurians. And I'm saying this making fun of myself, basically. So my first publication as an undergraduate was about ontogeny and variation in Tylosaurus. And it was addressing those other 2 species, Tylosaurus nepilicus and Kansasensis. And I came to the conclusion, using prorigor as my baseline, as my point of comparison, that Kansasensis was actually synonymous with nepilicus, that they're the same thing. Because we all know that everything referred to prorigor is prorigor. Next slide. So what I didn't do, and what no one else had done at this point, was actually take a critical look at the holotype specimen of Tylosaurus prorigor. So as paleobiologists, we are limited to the skeletal morphology or anatomy of the holotype specimen. That's the only thing that matters when you're naming a new species. Or I'm sorry, when you're referring new specimens to a species. Does your new specimen have the same apomorphies or characters as the holotype? Yes. Cool. It's the same species. Probably. Maybe. Probably. Does it not have any overlap with the holotype? You can't say. You really can't say without having actual overlap so that you can compare those things. Now, there's plenty of overlap between the holotype of prorigor and other specimens of prorigor. The holotype is like not great. I'm not going to feature it here because that's the topic of something else. It's not great, but it's not like 3 scraps in a box. Like there's a significant part of the muzzle, the front part of the face, and some of the lower jaw, and a couple of vertebrae that are preserved with that specimen. But I was an undergrad. I didn't have a lot of money to travel. I certainly couldn't afford to take a trip to Boston to see the holotype. But also, fun fact, in my mind, it was lost because Dale Russell, who wrote the Systematics and Morphology of North American Mosasaurs, which is essentially a mosasaur anatomy Bible, told everybody in that paper that the holotype had been lost. And because everyone who studies these animals references that book, we're like, oh yeah, okay, fine, it's lost. And I guess no one looked. I didn't look, what I know. And then one day on Twitter, the collections manager, Christina, posted a picture of her with the holotype of Tylosaurus prorigor. I was like, hey, what the hell? So anyways, we'll come back to that animal in another paper. But the long story short is like, I started to reassess like what actually matched that specimen. And I did find specimens that matched, like good. Like for example, this specimen on display at the American Museum of Natural History is Tylosaurus prorigor. I feel pretty confident about that. Next slide. So when I was at the AMNH, I spent a lot of time just kind of opening drawers. And there was a specimen that stood out to me that I thought was kind of interesting. So this is AMNH FARB 1543. I nicknamed it Beefcake because it was big and chunky and from Texas, which stood out to me because most, if not all, Tylosaurus I had seen at this point were either from Kansas or South Dakota. So I thought that was kind of cool. And something was like wrong about it. I couldn't put my finger on what was wrong. I was just like, something's kind of off here. And actually the middle picture, you're getting a Jimbo jump scare. He's helping me take a picture of the top of the head. Because it's really heavy. It's a really big, heavy chunk of bone. And actually what he's holding is just the frontal. So like just the forehead bone of this animal. But I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm like, something's wrong, but whatever. I don't have time for this. And then, cut to 2021, 2022. When I had this meeting with Mike, and it was a Zoom call or whatever. And I think he was kind of just testing me to see where I was at and what I knew and what I was trying to investigate. And so he had been asking some leading questions. I don't remember if he asked me about this specimen or if I independently brought it up. Because it was like, oh, you're in Texas? We have this mosasaur from Texas. And I don't know what's up with it, but I think it's kind of weird. And he just kind of got quiet and was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. Good question. I don't remember when he told me, but like, essentially he's like, okay, so you're right. It's not the same. So this is where this project started. Next slide. So at some point after this, I think it was because I was invited to give a talk for Permian Fest at the Whiteside Museum of Natural History in Seymour, Texas. I kind of co-opted that trip to Texas to go to the Perot to meet with Ron, because I guess I meet Mike. We hadn't met in person before. But I went to the Perot and to Southern Methodist University to meet up with them, take some measurements, photographs, etc. of all of these Tylosaurus in Texas. And like, they're insane. They're gorgeous. And they're all huge, like every single one of them, which was crazy. And like, wow, I wonder what this will look like statistically, if this is a real pattern or if we're just kind of seeing things here. Next slide. So this specimen that's on display here is the Heath mosasaur. I don't remember exactly why it has that nickname. I should know that, but I don't remember. It's Heath. That's how I have it labeled in my data sheets and things. It is a nearly complete skull and skeleton. It's gorgeous. It's awesome. And the way, like on the left there in that skull, like you might be thinking, wow, that's weird that they put the pterygoid teeth dropping down so low like that. I've never seen that. That's just how they fit. The brain case is really tall and they push them down like that. There's no other way for those bones to go in there. And lo and behold, there's another mosasaur that was rearticulated in Maastricht. It's prognathodon saturator, the big chunky one, which also has a nickname. It's Bear. But it was like 3D printed and replicated and articulated, and it's the same thing. Like when you put these things back together and when they're well preserved, that's just what the pterygoids do. It's super cool and super intimidating. It's awesome. I love him. So Heath is huge. Heath was designated to be our holotype. So we started the process of doing comparisons. So next slide. This animal, it was clear that this animal was very similar to Prorigger. So I might have said this, I don't know if I did explicitly, but a lot of the specimens, if not literally, like, I don't want to say literally, but almost all of them, if not all of them, were previously labeled as Tylosaurus prorigger, which is fair. It does look a lot like prorigger from a distance. So some characters that it shares with prorigger that I've got highlighted here are the presence of a nubbin, which is the technical term. So for the rostrum, the doorknob on the front of the face, on the midline right in front of the teeth, they have a little bump. And that's something that Kansasensis, Nepelicus, and somebody else who I'm forgetting. The earlier Tylosaurians don't have that feature at all. It's something that develops or evolves in Prorigger, and then we see it in Tex, and we see it in the later Hanosaur, quote unquote, things. So that's a derived character that it shares with Prorigger, but also with other Tylosaurians or other derived Tylosaurians. There's a development of an infrastapedial process of the quadrate, I believe. Prorigger, no, in both of them, we split up, or not we, a previous paper split up the names of this bump into like 6 or 7 different structures because it's a really complicated structure. So in this case, what was previously called an infrastapedial process is actually broken into 2 distinct bumps, the posteromedial process and the posterolateral process. Nepelicus and Kansasensis have one of them. I'm forgetting which one it is. I think it's the medial one. And Prorigger, it actually has 2 ridges that run together, so it has both of them. And Tex does as well. And then at the front of the dennary, there's this little development of like a bump at the front of the dennary. So it has a lot in common with Prorigger. Something that's different, next slide, or at least I should say consistently different, is we see the presence of serrations on the teeth. I hesitate to say serrations because they're actually not serrations. They're a structure that's been called crenulations. So here they are under the microscope on another specimen of Tex, which is nicknamed Cover. This was our runner-up holotype because it's very good. It has a really cool skull and most of the vertebral column. But if we go to the next slide here, and if you're familiar, if you've seen teeth with serrations before, you might already know that something's not right here, and you'd be right. So the carina, or the edge of the tooth, looks like it's been like crimped. Like it doesn't really look like a proper serration or a proper denticle. Like, and initially I'm like, okay, well maybe that's just a lizard thing, because I was thinking of dinosaurs, right? But then I looked at a paper about, I think this is the paper about Komodo dragons having like iron reinforced teeth, which is really cool. And they figure both kinds of, they figure dinosaurs and they figure lizards, and lizards have serrations like normal. So we're gonna put a pin in this, as in I'm not gonna talk about this again, but like it's just really, really interesting. Even more interesting is that whatever Tylosaurus is doing, it's not just Tylosaurus, the other mosasaurs that have serrations. So serrations in mosasaurs is relatively uncommon. You only see it in Tex, in Hanosaurus, Prognathodon, and some Mosasaurus, but not all of them. But what's really cool is that they always look like this. So even in Mosasaurus and Prognathodon, which are not closely related to Tylosaurus at all, when they have quote-unquote serrations, they're actually crenulations like this. I don't know enough about teeth to have any idea why it's doing that, but we thought it was pretty cool. Next slide. The other thing that all these critters have in common, well, there's two things covered on this slide because I forgot to put a map in this PowerPoint. But so I'll back up a little bit. So I've mentioned Texas a couple of times now. All but 2 of the specimens that we refer to Tylosaurus rex were found in Texas. So specifically, they're found in northeast Texas. Most of them come from the Ozan Formation. They're about 79 million years old. Most of them are relatively recently collected, so we actually know exactly where they came from and have actual precise stratigraphic data for them, which is great. And we noticed, like I mentioned earlier, that all of these things are huge. So I've got scaled here relative sizes of some other Tylosaurus next to the largest lizard we have alive today. So largest Varanus, I'm not including Megalania, it's extinct. I'm at largest modern lizard. And that is actually quite a large skull. That's one of the ones at the AMH. But you can see Tex is like huge. It's far and away much bigger than these other Tylosaurs. And that's a pattern that is pretty consistent. I'll come back to that, but we can go to the next slide to give you a sense of scale of like body size of these things, what that would look like next to a person or next to a skeleton that you might be more familiar with. The largest, did you advance the slide? Is it lagging?
I did.
Okay, it's lagging. Oh, there it is. I'm blind. Sorry. I've had a long day. All right, so the largest Tylosaurus rex are larger than the largest Tyrannosaurus rex. Larger in terms of body length, not necessarily mass. We did not do mass estimates for this. So that I don't know. But they are, as you can see, like quite a bit larger than all the other Tylosaurs. The smallest Tex in our data set is actually about the same size as the largest prorigger that we have in our data set. And this is accounting for some new identifications. So next slide. To show this a bit more relative to the actual individual animals that we have in our data set. The pattern is still clear, which is really cool. So this graph is actually showing the quadrate height. So the quadrate is a bone at the back of the skull that connects the lower jaw to the skull. It's also part of the ear. It's a really common mosasaur fossil because it's like really chunky and solid, so it preserves really well, but also like it's loose. It's not tightly articulated with the skull or with the jaw, so it comes loose. It preserves as an individual element sometimes. So that makes it really common as a fossil. And it also correlates pretty well to overall skull size and then overall body size. And this is something that future folks can investigate more in depth, but we found across our sample of Tylosaurs pretty consistent estimates using the complete skeletons that we did have of body size using even like individual bones, like the quadrate. So you can see here that all of the other Tylosaurs are quite a bit smaller. And yeah, so there is a little bit of overlap again between, so previously when I showed the largest and the smallest Tex, that's based on body length estimates that I could get reliably. These are including some of the individual quadrate bones that are a little bit less reliable. The stars here show the sizes of the holotypes. And yeah, so there is a bit of overlap between the largest prorigger and the smallest Tex. So I need to keep that in mind for something that might come up later. I don't think I explicitly talk about it in these slides, so I'll mention it here. But something that's really funny is of the 3 largest individual Tex, 2 of them are actually not from Texas at all. They're from Kansas. One of them is Bunker, which is one of the, if there's an individual mosasaur that someone is going to know about, it's probably Bunker. because I've spent the last several years hyping it up because I love it, because it's cool, but also because it's featured very prominently in museums in general. Typically, like, there's a lot of casts of Bunker that exist in museums. So if you ever see a mosasaur and you're like, that's bigger than God, it's probably Bunker, because it's intimidating. It's huge. It's awesome. And if you ever get to visit the Kansas Museum of Natural History, Bunker, a cast of Bunker, is like hanging right above you in the lobby and like spiraling up, but it's really cool. The real Bunker is really crunchy. The bones are kind of nasty. Even though it's a relatively complete skeleton, no one's ever studied it because it sucks. Like, the surface texture is not great. There's not a lot of information left on this thing. And actually, fun fact, when I went to study it as an undergrad, the museum was not sure where it was, because no one had asked to study it in years, and this was a relatively new person working, and so we had to like find this thing. I was like, how do you lose 40 feet of lizard? It's not, we found it. Because I found a skull that was as long as I am tall sitting on a shelf. We had to get like a stretcher to pull it out.
Amelia, was I supposed to advance the slide while I was responding in chat?
No, you're good.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. We're almost there. But yeah, so anyway, so I'm gonna come back to the reason that we know Bunker is Tex is not because it's big. I want to make that clear. Like, the size is cool, but this is not the character data that we're using to define this as an animal. They just happen to be larger. And the other thing to keep in mind is we're not actually sure that this is entirely a real pattern, quote unquote. We're pretty sure that there's this trend in larger body size throughout time with these things. But it's really weird that we don't get anything smaller of Tex. So, right, like an animal that's 25 feet long, probably not a baby. But we don't have any like babies of these things. And there are smaller animals preserved in the same rocks that preserve these monsters. So it's some kind of bias. We don't know what it is. If maybe the babies are just, or the smaller individuals are living somewhere else, we don't know. But it is a kind of, you can see the difference between Tex and the other species I have shown here, which have like almost, you could argue, are more complete size ranges. We just don't have anything from Tex that's that small. So why? I don't know. Okay, so next slide. I'm going to breeze through this part because I want us to get to the more fun part of the evening and actually engage with folks with questions and stuff. But like I was saying, we're not diagnosing this based on size, and we aren't really diagnosing it based on its locality either. Like I said, some of them were from Kansas, but even the ones from Kansas shared these apomorphies. So an apomorphy is a unique character. And so just to give some examples, there is an extra like pocket in the back of the parietal in the top back middle of the skull where neck musculature would attach to. There's a development of a lump on the quadrate bone that seems to be associated with the thickening of the quadratic ala, or the kind of bowl shape part of the quadrate bone. We have a really large chorda tympani foramen, which is in the articular bone, so the backbone of the lower jaw. Why? I have no idea, but it's consistently like huge in these things. And then we've got some other apomorphies that are interesting as well. So the teeth are relatively larger. They actually overlap a little bit onto the opposite jaws, and the shape of some of the sutures and other like details like that. So we have quite a large number of totally unique characters. Right. Okay. So I'm making sure I'm hitting my points here. So we've got these character differences. And so to circle back to Tex, it's all Tex, to Bunker, Bunker and the other specimen from Kansas. They have these apomorphies, but also they are stratigraphically more similar to Tex. They are contemporaneous than Proberger. So something that was overlooked in those specimens is they're not from the Niobrara, they're from the Pierre Shale. And that's why Bunker is crappy. Like, that's why it's really flaky and gross and ugly. Like, if you remember how the Jormungandr bones actually look, like, I didn't show pictures of them usually. I usually showed scans because the bone is really flaky and kind of gross. That's just something that happens in the Pierre Shale. But that's a slightly later point in time, or younger point in time. So Bonker is the nickname for the other one because it's also big. It's at the Sternberg Museum. Bunker and Bonker both, thank you, Nathan, for nicknaming Bonker, are slightly younger. They're about 80 million years old, and that's about how old these Texas things are. Next slide. But we're still kind of faced with this problem, right, of distinguishing intra versus inter-specific differences. Don't mind the no camera photo there. I ripped this from a talk I gave before where it was a no camera thing. We're done. We're published. We're good.
We should replace it with a camera thing.
Yes. Go ahead. Share it. I don't care.
Please do talk.
So, all right. So we're still faced with this problem, right? Like, okay, how can we be actually sure that the differences that we're seeing are species level differences? Specifically, I know exactly what question everyone would ask.
I was about to pose it. What about ontogeny? Some of these are big, and some of them are not as big.
I know. Okay,
Have
you can
Can
advance,
you draw a line between them?
advance
You,
the slide.
you can.
You
Believe
could
it or not.
indeed. Actually, fun fact, I did as an undergraduate. Basically, Bunker was setting my point for the mature morphology of Tylosaurus prorigor because it was the biggest and it was called prorigor, and I didn't look at the holotype because I was an undergrad. I didn't know what I was doing. But this is a reasonable question, right? We do have a subset of animals that are much larger than another subset of animals. They're not that different in time, I guess, all things considered. They are really similar. They have a lot in common. And then also a lot of the characters that differentiate Tex from prorigor, you could argue could be ontogenetic. So a lot of the things that we're seeing are potentially associated with the animals getting larger and their muscles getting larger and pulling on bones and causing the development of processes, strengthening their, like, just becoming more robust, which is like a totally reasonable ontogenetic change. Well, next slide. We can test this because there is that margin of overlap between the largest prorigor and the smallest Tex. They do overlap. So we can directly compare those specimens. Next slide. And we do see that they are different, even where they overlap. So this is the quadrate bone. You're looking at it in posterior view, so from behind. The arrow in the top row is Tex. The bottom row is prorigor. The arrow is pointing to, I mentioned there's this extra process on the mandibular condyle of the quadrate. So the bottom part of the quadrate, that's attaching it to the jaw. It has a third lump on it. So usually in a Tylosaurus, they're kind of like saddle shaped. In Tex, we get this third lump. And you can see in the smallest specimen, so these are all to scale, the smallest specimen of Tex all the way on the left and the largest specimen of prorigor all the way on the right have different shapes. And they're about the same size. And you never see even the beginnings of a development of that lump versus in Tex, actually in that smallest individual, it's not really there yet. It's still kind of like, it's not defined. It's not as well defined as those two big ones. The one on the right, by the way, is Bunker, the big one on the right. Like I said, if it's like ungodly big compared to everything around it, it's Bunker. It looks really funny on graphs because it's like way, way bigger than everything else. But yeah, so this is a consistent ontogenetic, a consistent species level character that also shows its ontogenetic progression. So like, even though that little one is not a baby, it's smaller than the others, and we do see this consistent change in that character across different species, different specimens. Next slide. And something else that was really cool about this animal and just about mosasaurs in general, and part of the reason I chose to study them, is that they have close living relatives. They are lizards, straight up. Whether you believe they're snakes or monitors or iguanas or whatever, kind of doesn't matter for this. They're still lizards, and lizards are really well studied in the realm of ontogeny and development. And so we have the opportunity to directly compare them to their living relatives that relatively look pretty similar, but also have this really good literature studying exactly this topic. And next slide, lo and behold, they actually do show similar skeletal changes ontogenetically to their modern cousins. So for this study, we chose to use Varanus just because their skulls are very, very similar in anatomy, even if it's not necessarily because they're closely related. Both of these animals are macropredatory. Both of them have fused parietals. They have frontals that are basically a big triangle. They're very similar. For the purposes of this kind of comparison, they're very useful. So the character that we're keying in on here is the shape of the parietal bone. So like I said, it's the top, back, middle of the skull. The parietal bone sits between the supratemporal fenestrae. Those fenestrae house muscles, house jaw muscles. And it's documented in modern lizards that as the animals grow up, those muscles get larger and the bone constricts to accommodate them. This change doesn't always happen, but when it does happen, it looks exactly like this, where the margins go from being more straight to more concave, kind of like an hourglass shape. And we see that change in text. Again, even though that's not like a baby necessarily, I don't think it is, that specimen on the left, there is a clear difference in its size and its morphology from the one on the right. And I promise the one on the right is not super busted, like we're not making up that shape. Like you can't see it, but on the ventral side, there's a little flange that actually does connect those two broken pieces. So we're confident that that's the actual shape. Also, though, that shape is preserved in other specimens. This just is the one that photographed the best, but the holotype has this anatomy as well. And others do as well. There's lots of them. I have trouble keeping all of them straight all the time. But this is really cool, and this has implications for other studies of mosasaur ontogeny, which did not directly compare ontogenetic changes in mosasaurs or potential ontogenetic changes in mosasaurs to their living relatives. Maybe we got something wrong. I don't know. What would I know? But that's not the topic of this. The topic of this is we were able to make this comparison. We saw the same change. This is documented in the lizards that I studied at the AMNH, as well as the literature studying skull anatomy and ontogeny in extant lizards. So great, perfect. The last piece of this. So all leading up to this, I said it's a monster paper, it's a monster work. All those measurements that I talked about taking for 340 some mosasaurs and 130 some lizards, they are all also uploaded, open access, completely accessible with this paper. So if you want to run stats on them, go to town, have fun. We did what we could. It was pretty basic in terms of the stats in this paper. I think I did an ANOVA for the quadrate sizes, and that's about it. Because really that wasn't our focus. For me, the important thing about this work and this paper was getting everything I'd done up and out there so that other people can use it, other people can reference it. There are 50 figures of that. I think 47 of them are anatomical. Because when I was learning mosasaur anatomy myself, for the first several years, I was basically doing it alone because none of my advisors specialized on them. And it was a pain in the ass because old figures were either out of date or not completely labeled, or they're line drawings, so they're not quite exact with what you actually see in the real bones. And it was just so difficult. And I didn't want future mosasaur students to like go through the same hell that I did trying to learn these stupid things. So every bone is labeled in every view. For this iteration, I added little arrows that tell you which way is to the front as well, because I feel like sometimes I get confused and it's just helpful to have a little reminder. I did that because making the figures, it was specifically the one for the vomer, which is a palatal bone. It's really thin. It looks like a rod. And I kept forgetting if it was the left or the right or the top or the bottom. And I was just like, forget it. I need an arrow because this stupid thing, like I'm so not used to looking at that bone. Because in mosasaurs, they're not typically there, or if they are, they're like obliterated. So that was new in that way. But I just wanted it to be as helpful as possible, as much of a resource for other people as possible. So it's open access. It's got all my data. And next slide, on top of the measurement data, we also fully rewrote the character list used to analyze their phylogenetic relationships. So on the left, I have what the phylogeny looked like before, because I don't actually expect anybody to remember that. And then on the right, I have our results. So the mosasaur phylogenetic character list, the one that basically everyone has used for 30 years, was published in 1997 by Gordon Bell. A lot of people have like revised the character list and removed problematic characters. But a big thing that had not happened was the addition of new characters as we discovered more specimens, more species. Sorry, it's hard because I have my phone in front of me to keep track of just if anything's important. And we've got some fun conversations happening in the Skeleton Crew group chat. But anyways, I'm glad they're all paying attention. No, it's fine. That's not meant to be rude or anything. I'm just distracted now.
It's that I'm paying too much rapt attention to know that I would characterize some parts of the anatomy as looking different than the way you described them. But
Indeed.
that's for others to talk about.
And it's not what you wrote, it's whoever reacted with that emoji that is not standard.
I think that was Scott.
Thank you.
I think
That's
it was
what got
Scott
me.
with the
Mostly them,
non-standard
Scott.
The
emoji.
non-standard emojis.
I've got one slide to go, and you guys are freaking derailing me at the very end. Okay. Let's talk about data and not this silliness. So the character list was missing new characters. So we've discovered many new mosasaurs since 1997. Not only new species, but just new specimens, like new anatomy. Like, we just understand these things so much better. But there were a lot of bones that weren't represented in this data set at all. And the way these analyses work is they're completely dependent on what you put in the matrix, right? So you might have heard people talk about phylogenetic analyses, say garbage in, garbage out. It's all dependent on that data set that you build. If the characters aren't in there, the analysis can't find relationships with characters that it doesn't have. So, for example, if you remember the Jormungandr paper, we recover it with Clydastes in a polytomy, but we argue that that's probably not actually true. And that was actually the beginnings of me doing this part of this paper, was I realized very quickly that existing matrix that everyone has kind of traded and used for 30 years was out of date and needed to be updated. So on top of that, it's been kind of used and recycled for 30 years. And so many different people have contributed to it, and there's many different voices and interpretations. So I felt I had to just open a blank Word document, start over, and write the whole thing. So even though most of the characters existed before, they are now written in one voice with one understanding and one interpretation of what that means. And so so in this way, at least, it was consistent. So I also scored every individual one of these animals into the matrix, because also the matrix had inherited all these inconsistencies, because not everyone sees characters the same way, and that's fine. Like, that's just differences in how we perceive things, right? But that becomes a problem if dozens of different people are plugging things into this matrix without communicating, without double checking themselves. So that's also why there's a very limited taxon sample in this paper. I'm only showing the Tylosaurus here, but we only have like 3 or 4 outgroups, and 2 of them are mosasaurines, which you might ask, why not use a pliopodicarpine? I have 2 answers. One, I didn't have good data for them, and I wanted this to be as good as possible and actually represent the animals. 2, it doesn't matter. Pliopodicarpines are proposed to be the sister group to Tylosaurines, but they also independently acquired all of the mosasaur traits. Like, they evolved from things with legs separately from mosasaurs, separately from mosasaurines. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. We did run analyses with pliopodicarpines. It didn't change anything. I think we just lost resolution or something. A couple things to note here is we get Tyrannosaurus in a brand new spot. It pulls all the way up the tree. This makes the rest of the things I'm going to say a problem, which is great. Thank you, Tyrannosaurus, for being awful. So the other thing that happens that's new and interesting to me is we actually get what you could call a monophyletic Hanosaurus. So, in my opinion, Gaudry and Saskatchewanensis have characters that make them more similar to the Hanosaurus species than to the stratigraphically older Tylosaurus. So I would suggest that those be sunk into Hanosaurus if you want to keep that genus. Again, really the troublemakers here are Tyrannosaurus, because the simplest thing would just be to call everything Tylosaurus, but Tyrannosaurus is really weird. It's really different. It's obviously a different animal. The shape of the skull roof is wrong. The shape of the quadrate is wrong. I say wrong, different. It's wrong. They're weird. But they're clearly very different. So I couldn't justify calling all of these things Tylosaurus. But then we get this, what's called paraphyletic Tylosaurus. So along the base of the tree, all these Tylosaurus species like plunk out separately. There's no way to group them together to make them all Tylosaurus, technically. So you could, in theory, name every one of those a new genus. in my opinion, and in the opinion of my co-authors, that would be incredibly reckless and unnecessary and just create a big dumpster fire mess for someone to clean up 10 years from now. Because there's just no reason for it at this time. There's historic precedent for the genus Tylosaurus. They are all still more similar in appearance to each other than they are to Hanosaurus, even if you split those hairs. And this is effectively a preliminary analysis. So we intend to keep adding characters and keep adding text, like actually flesh this thing out. So it would be, like I said before, it'd be just kind of reckless to go ahead and just name things just because. In my opinion, that's not a great way to do science. And if if these results like persist, however, so if the next person that runs this, if we improve upon the data set and we're still seeing this result, okay, like then we'll deal with it then. We'll deal with it at that time. But I think I don't think we have to do that right now. It's interesting, but it is just a result of our data set. Like, it's not necessarily going to stick around. We'll see what happens. I don't think it will personally. But we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, so that's that. And I think that's all the science, and I think I covered all the bases. So the next slide, the last slide I have, is just to shout out our friends at Alderaan Games and Path of Titans for working with me on bringing the critter to life. So they approached me a while ago now. I don't remember. Last year sometime, they approached me to consult on their Tylosaurus model, just in general. And again, this paper took a lot longer than I thought it would to kind of go through review and all of that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, actually, if you can, depending on your timing, I have an idea. Do you want to make a new species and like roll it out with the paper? And they were very excited by that. And so that's what we did. I did advise like the regular Tylosaurus, but then also I helped them make the separate model for T-Rex, and we made this really fun special Texas skin. We were talking, we're like, all right, what kind of animals, what kind of colors, what is Texas? I'm like, well, rattlesnakes, obviously. So that's where most of the colors are based on, and it looks gorgeous. I love it. But like every time I go to Texas, it strikes me like how much Texans love Texas. Like, it's crazy. Which, like, I'm from Wisconsin. We're a state that loves our state. Like, I'm wearing a Brewers jersey right now because we swept the Cubs yesterday. So. But anyways, like, from another state that like loves the state, right? I was like, we gotta have the flag in there somehow. And she, the lady I was in contact with, sent a doodle. Like, what if we did it like this, where it's just like a star on its head and like the stripes of the flag? And I was like, that looks incredible. And then they pulled it off in a way that like apparently has taken some folks like a little bit to actually notice that that's what's going on its head, and that it's not just a fun splash of color. So he's got the flag on its head. Yeah, and it's bigger and beefier, and one of my friends told me that people are upset because I guess it's like buffed relative to the other animals in the game. I don't know. It should be. It's Tex. Like, it's big, it's bad, it's awesome. I didn't really acknowledge the name, so we did name it Tylosaurus Rex. In part because as an undergrad, the first time I saw Bunker, I was like, wow, if this thing's ever different, that would be funny. Didn't think about it, for like 3 years. But also because Mike and Ron came across this old letter from John Thurmond, who's someone who worked at the Pro a long time ago. And he was writing a letter to a friend about these Tylosaurus that he thought were different from Pro Rigor. And actually, he thought they were different from Dispeller, which is actually a species that's not valid. That's actually Pro Rigor. But he suggested the name Tylosaurus thalassotyrannus, and then followed it with parentheses grown ? And it's so funny. Like, just like, so we include that verbatim in our etymology. But also, like I said, like, if any mosasaur deserves the name, it's this one. Like, they're all huge. They have serrated teeth. They're super cool. Yeah. I think that's all I have to say. I've been talking for longer than I planned to, but there's a lot going on in this paper. It's like I said, the sum of 5 years of work. Anything like, and everything that I did at the AMNH is in this paper. So I'm really proud of it, and it's a monster, but I'm really happy that it's finally out.
As am I. And as are our viewers,
Indeed.
I'm sure.
We all are.
Yes.
Well, Alex isn't. But anyway, everybody else is happy.
Hold on. What's slander?
Sorry. Well, so Amelia, there are many comments in chat, and I simply don't think it's possible to go to all of them. But several of them were super chats, and so we should definitely
we
take
have to
those.
do those.
Certainly.
Oh, absolutely.
And there are definitely other chat or other questions. So what I'm going to do, and just for a little bookkeeping, I'm going to start Path of Titans and transition over to just streaming myself swimming around and not being on this PDF page for a little while.
Yeah.
We'll fully move into that segment when Amelia's gone through and caught a few questions that we need to address. Okay? That good with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep.
Sure. That means I can wind down. Perfect.
Let's see.
I'm in a really cool Path of Titan server.
Is it the one we're going to be playing in?
It's called Saros. It's pretty heavily modded.
I see.
I'm trying to scroll up to the first super chat so we could ask the question, and I'm just having some difficulties.
I'm going up as well. First one, I'm also. Oh, I'm not able to scroll up that high. I do know it was. What is everyone's favorite marine reptile?
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Apologies for not having your name on hand, but I do remember your question.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody should answer that question, probably.
Well, I gotta think about it, man.
Tylosaurus, obviously.
Mine's also pretty obvious if you know me at all. It's Chronosaurus,
Yeah, that's a really good one.
which I did realize. I apologize. I will not be playing a Tylosaurus in the game because I did see we got a Pliosaurus. We're not going to be playing Tylosaurus because we do have a Pliosaur in here,
That's
and
fine.
I'm definitely going to be a Pliosaur that I realize I've never actually said the name of out loud before. Sakisaurus? I don't know. Sachikosaurus?
I've
don't
always
know.
thought Sachikosaurus.
How you
Sure.
doing there, bud?
Sachikosaurus, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what my favorite.
It's my
marine
favorite
reptile
marine
is.
reptile.
I can't group up with them if I do. That's okay. That also
fine.
means
He
that
can
they
be
can
rogue.
hunt me and I can hunt them.
Everybody's gonna hate me.
Yeah, but that's
Well, I know.
breaking new ground there.
Yeah, I know. Dolichorhynchops. Or rather, the reason everybody's gonna hate me is that
Oh.
it should be said Dolichorhynchops, but anyway.
What? James?
Anyway,
I've always
sorry.
heard Dolichorhynchops.
No, it shouldn't be Dolichorhynchops.
Yes, it should. Okay. Anyway.
Why?
Ooh,
Anyway,
someone
It's
someone
cool.
give a
I
good
like
answer
it.
in chat. Someone said Henidus in chat, which is a good answer.
Ooh,
although,
That's a good answer.
I do
although
like an
if I'm
Henidus.
going to be an enormous technical pedant, which I've never been,
no, that's never
I
happened.
think I think it's thought that Henodonts might be more like estuarine and freshwater than marine.
Well, egg on their
Which is-
face.
Pushes my invisible glasses up my nose, even because I don't need glasses. I'm the only member of the skeleton crew with clarity of vision. Probably it's so lame. Probably an ichthyosaur. One of like the really early gross ichthyosaurs. No, I lied. I've immediately locked in after thinking about that. It's Hupasukians. They're my precious little
They're funny
monsters.
little things.
Hupasukians are wonderful. I love them so much.
You know, I'm gonna fill in a gap then. I don't actually know if this is the right answer, but I'm going to say like Styxosaurus or Elasmosaurus or maybe like Albertonectes, one of the really long-necked Elasmosaurs. I think that's like a classic
Too.
marine reptile shape, and it's not a shape we really have anymore. Just too bad. I think they'd be cool to see.
Thalassemedon is also great.
Please don't say that that's how you pronounce that one too.
I mean, how do you say Thalassemedon?
No one knows how-
Thalassemedon.
Oh,
Thal-
no, that's
Thalassomedon?
wrong, Scott.
Yeah, that's wrong. Sorry.
Sorry.
I mean, there's
Okay,
no good way to.
Thalassemedon.
It is, yeah.
The last of meat on.
The last of Medon.
I've
Me
been
when I'm
butchering
done at the
words
grill.
all day. I was really proud of the worm of Gander earlier.
See, this is generally why we don't let Amelia talk for too long, because then we don't have an opportunity to correct Scott on pronunciation or reading.
Yep.
I think that's everyone answered the first super chat question, and our second one, which was from Primal Gamer 26. So thank you for that very much. We appreciate it. Our second one comes to us from the Ripster P3C. They just when they wrote this, just got here. Don't know if you've talked about this, but is the slope of the skull from the brain case down to the snout something that's seen in every mosasaur? Y'all are cool people, and you're a cool fan. Thank you.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think I have a PDF of the paper somewhere in my many windows on this computer that's not happy with me. Or I did at one point.
Well, like, I know what a Tylosaur looks like. I just don't know what slope is being talked about. If you're still here, if you can clarify. Like, because we did talk about the pterygoids, but that's not... I don't know that that's what we're talking about.
What's the policy? Are you able to, like, switch characters you play as in this game?
Yeah, you can exit the world.
I
and
made
re-enter.
3 last night in a fit of
Inspiration.
Yes. One of them I kind of tried to theme and got annoyed halfway through making it. One of them is a mean joke, and one of them is what I intend to be playing mostly. We'll let chat just decide which one I choose first.
I'm not sure. I was trying to see if maybe like the because I'm not a mosasaur specialist, maybe if I looked at it, I could kind of intuit what they meant. I am also not sure, so if you could maybe write in to clarify, that would be awesome. But thank you for the super chat. Then we've got Ryan Howe, who's just super chatted, so thank you very much, who's asking, seeing that mosasaurs are squamates, were they ectothermic or endothermic?
I think the current consensus is that they're more endothermic than ectothermic, but that's a region of the literature I'm less familiar with. They were certainly active and fast-growing.
Yeah, I think every piece of evidence I have seen has suggested that they at least kept their body temperature higher than the temperature of the water around them pretty regularly. And I think they were probably what we would consider like endothermic or near.
Because they grew very fast. I remember that. Like that's there aren't many histo papers on them, but that's one that I remember is that they grew up really fast. Like they got big fast.
And we've got another super chat from Nacho Raptor, who has 2 questions. 1, how far into the East US do you think this thing got? And 2, do I need to go run and look for serrations on the mosasaur tooth that they got at the museum gift shop? Congrats on the paper.
Okay, so first, not very, because most of the eastern US was not underwater. So here's the problem with like marine animals, right? Is like they have almost infinite range. Like theoretically, a lot. Like think of whales, right? A lot of them have global distributions. I think these things are very similar. There does seem to be like some kind of partitioning between an Atlantic fauna and a Pacific fauna, which is interesting. But like in terms of the Western Interior Seaway and the coasts, there's a bit of mixing. I have no idea if it would have been able to go up the East Coast, or if it did, because we also like don't have a lot of fossils from the East Coast from that time. I'd be curious to see what's going on in like the Gulf states, like Alabama and that area, because there are mosasaurs found there that are weird. Like I haven't been able to like make the time or find the money to go travel to see those specimens, but I think something really weird is going on south and east. And by weird, I mean like I think it's actually a slightly separate slice of time, sampling a slightly separate fauna, because they all look kind of wonky to me. Anything that comes out of that region, even though they're just called Platyastes, Tylosaurus, Platycarpus, like all the same. And 2, yeah, go look for them. You won't. So the thing about the serrations is you probably won't see them. You'll feel them. You can see them under a magnifying glass, and you can feel them. are so fine that I also, it's like if it's a shed tooth, it's not certain if it's going to have them, because they could have been worn down. I would always, like, when I do study trips, I would always look for them on replacement teeth that were still in the jaw bone when I was, like, assessing whether or not a specimen had serrated teeth. But they're really, really, really fine, and you really cannot see them. Like, Scott can testify to how big a pain in the ass it was for me trying to photograph them in the Probriger holotype. So actually, some Probriger have them. There's a lot of variability in mosasaur teeth ontogenetically and individually. So we didn't put actually super much weight on the serrations as like a thing that was definitely characteristic, although a difference between them and Probriger is they always had them, versus Probriger, like, they're on the type and they're on like one or two other specimens, but it's only replacement teeth. So that's the other thing, right? From a museum gift shop, it's likely. Did you say it was a museum gift shop? I think
That was yeah.
Yeah. Very likely that it's something from Morocco, which means that it could be a Mosasaurus or a Prognathodon, probably, that would have them. Not much else known from Morocco with serrations. That's still a valid taxon. There is a Tylosaurine that was found in Morocco, but we sunk that in this paper because it was not described using any apomorphies that mattered, and it's also reposited in a museum that doesn't exist. So there is a Tylosaur from Morocco, and it does have serrated teeth, potentially. But unlikely that you have that one. You would probably have a Prognathodon or a Mosasaurus if it had serrated teeth. And again, that fauna is something that overall I haven't had as much experience with because they're very hard to access. Because they are so heavily commercialized, they're just not as common in museums proper, and I do all of my collections visits to, like, museums. So hypothetically possible, but so just like feel the edge. You would be able to tell. It feels kind of like a butter knife, like the edge of a butter knife or whatever, with those little bumpies. Yes, and then hold on, there was another. I saw the next
There's
super
been a couple.
chat is so the next one was Persian King 44. Thank you. It's still wild and insanely cool to me that mosasaurs evolved 4 different times. Are we certain it's not a case of convergent evolution, and if not, how come? So yes and no. So 2 things. Mosasaurs as a group are one thing. So they originate from one group of reptiles called mosasauroids. So that's the broadest category. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that dolichosaurs are now part of this group, which are kind of weird, wiggly, little kind of snaky looking things. I wiggle them like imagine a spaghetti noodle. That's what I'm doing when I'm doing that. Like, imagine you wiggle the lizard. But there's these, like, really long little things.
Imagine you wiggle the lizard.
Imagine. One can
Imagine
only
wiggling
dream.
your lizard.
One must imagine the wizard. The
wizard.
lizard.
The wizard.
Good try.
The wizard.
The wizard. Anyways, so there's Dolichosaurs, but more well-known are called these things called Aegialosaurs, and they almost look like a monitor lizard. Like, they're small, I say, being like 3-4 feet long, which is pretty big for a lizard. But they just kind of look like a lizard. After that, it gets confusing. So in recent years, people have discovered more and more of these little leggy things, but they're not Aegialosaurs. They're diagnosable as members of derived clades. So within Mosasauridae, there are 4 main groups. I want to say families, but here's my secret. I don't care about rank taxonomy at all, really.
Based.
It's irrelevant. It's arbitrary.
Correct.
So there are these 4 groups of mosasaurs, these clades. There's Tylosaurines, Plioplatycarpines, Mosasaurines, and Halosaurines. And there are members of at least Plioplatycarpinae and Mosasaurines that are little and still have legs that could still crawl around on land. And by the nature of how we understand mosasaur relationships right now, actually, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to take halosaurs and we're going to put them over here. We'll deal with them later. And by we, I mean someone else who I know, because I have not worked on halosaurs at all. Halosaurs are really weird, and they're really rare, and they're relatively uncommon. So they're kind of funky, and they've been tricky to place in the mosasaur tree for the whole time we've known about them. They've bounced all over the place. So we're going to set them aside for a moment. But setting them aside, you have 3 groups. And Mosasaurines Plioplatycarpines and Tylosaurines are each other's closest relatives, versus, and then Mosasaurians are a separate group. So the fact that we have a little leggy Plioplatycarpine, actually we have two of them, Tethysaurus and Ceratosaurus, and then we have a little leggy Mosasaurine called Tylosaurus. That tells us, just by the nature of how these things are currently understood to be related, that there had to have been a little leggy Tylosaur at some point. We haven't found it yet, but that suggests at least 3 origins of flippers in the group. So the whole group is still monophyletic. Mike has given me taxonomy correction on, so we're good to go. So he's still watching. So the Dolichosaurs and Mosasauroids together are a broader group called Mosasauria. So they're all related. But the point is they're all monophyletic. They're all one group. So mosasaurs are not paraphyletic in that way. But it is convergent evolution in a sense that all of these things independently evolved flippers, large body size, elongated faces. And there's all these other characters as well. Actually, Tex and Hanosaurus have features that are convergent with Mosasaurus, which are convergent with large Plioplatycarpines. Like, every single one of these groups is just copying each other's homework, basically. Which is interesting. It means that there is a set of, like, constraints on these animals that is causing them to develop similar features. And some of them are kind of basic. It's just, like, features associated with large body size. So something that Tex has in the quadrate, in the ala, or the bowl shape of the bone, is there's like this deep groove. And we see that groove in big Mosasaurus and big Plioplatycarpines. And it's possible that that's just because the tympanum, the eardrum, and other tissues attaching that area are larger. They're hanging on stronger. They're leaving a groove behind. It is convergence, but it's still interesting. So, yeah. So that's the probably longer answer to that question than you were expecting. But like, that's another part of these animals that's like super cool. Is that there's all of these different independent acquisitions of aquatic traits, which makes them a really good study system for big picture questions. Okay, I saw another one and I lost it.
There have been a couple. So,
yeah.
We've had one from Paleo Hune who just is saying congratulations to you, Amelia, on the exciting research. They say it was peak literature, which is, I would agree. And thank you very much for the support.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And then Ryan Howe has just sent in one who and asks, seeing marine environments allow for greater mass, what's the evolutionary plausibility of a kaiju-sized mosasaur like in Jurassic World?
I completely zonked out. Let me look at that on the screen and I'll be good. No, probably not. We would have found it by now. Like, I mean, maybe not. The catch is, like I said before, marine animals, right? Like, we don't know what kinds of these things were necessarily living out in the deep ocean. Maybe there was something big. I don't know. Ichthyosaurs got to be Leviathan size, right? So I don't see why not. But the problem with the fossil record, right, is we only have what preserves. We cannot know. It sounds stupid, but it's like we can't know what we don't have. And that's something in paleo I think a lot of people like try to explain things away without any evidence.
No.
Well,
My paleontology?
Shocking.
I know, right?
But like, in short, maybe, but probably not. At this time, we do not have evidence of it. And I've seen several people have asked me about it, so I'll just say it now. I don't know what this means for Mosasaurus huffmani and how big it was, if it was bigger. Because if you've downloaded my measurement data, you might notice that I have no data for complete skeletons of Mosasaurus huffmani. So how we were working around the body length estimates is we had skeletons of Tylosaurus with complete body lengths. So I could test to see, okay, which of these proportions are consistent across these complete skeletons. You can't do that without a complete skeleton, and Mosasaurus relatively is not as well known in that way. Like, there are multiple complete or nearly complete Tylosaurus skeletons. Huffmani, like, is just not known to that degree. That I'm aware of. Again, like, it's also a limitation of what people have studied in the past, what I had the time and money to study. I would, if there's more of it, I would imagine it's at the museum in Brussels, and when I was there, I had 2 days, which was not enough time. I had no idea how much material they had. But as of right now, we don't know. The only complete skeletons of Mosasaurus that I'm aware of are, I think, one of the Moroccan ones. I think it's Bogai or whatever. There might be a complete one of those, but it's Moroccan. I don't know what museum it's in. I don't even know if it's a specimen in a museum or if it's a private fossil. I don't know. And then there is the Mosasaurus missouriensis specimens at the Terrell Museum, which I have other opinions about. But also, when I was at the Terrell, the more important thing is I didn't get a measurement for the one. They have a complete skeleton, head to tail, because it was in the stupid case under glass that they couldn't take off, so I couldn't get measurements from it. Which is like not anybody's fault. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So that's why that specimen doesn't have measurements, and it's not, as far as I know, it's not been published on. And then, oh right. Yes, so there was also Mosasaurus lemoneri. I forgot about the lemon, which I can't believe I forgot about the lemon. Because there's some cool stuff happening with the lemon that should be published relatively soon. But Mosasaurus lemoneri is another European species, and those are much better represented. But they're not as well published on. There's like, I can think of maybe 2 or 3 papers out there right now that mention it in any level of detail. And again, when I was there, I wasn't able to see and measure everything because Brussels has a huge collection of Mosasaurus, so I was limited in that way as well.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but my 2 cents on the, like, could Mosasaurs get, like, absolute kaiju-sized would be that, kind of hinting at something that Joshua Canupe said in chat a minute ago, what would they eat? Because it seems like that, like, to get to, at least the indication is to be a secondarily aquatic vertebrate and be absolutely enormous, you need to be a filter feeder.
Well, I don't think those big ichthyosaurs were, or not all of them were they?
Well, but they aren't like how big was Shonisaurus? Shonisaurus wasn't, I mean, big, but like it wasn't bigger than like even a lot of whales, right? I mean, it was bigger than...
No. Like some of this Ichthyotitan is like pushing... Is in the realm of like blue whales.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
get
realize
humongous.
that. Okay, I didn't realize that.
But I had the similar thought, Scott, and I think that, like, yeah, we are, like I say used to, we're not, like, used to whales. Like, thinking about modern whales, like, they are capitalizing on what seems to be a very recent niche that's become available that they exploit in a very interesting way that lets them get huge. And, like, these humongous ichthyosaurs, I know for a long time, because they kind of have a whale vibe to them, people thought they might like also be filter feeding, but I think there's now evidence to suggest they don't really have the dentition for that. But I'm not an ichthyosaur guy, so don't come at me. But
no, where is our patron? Who knows?
Yeah.
Ichthyosaurs when we need
Yeah.
them?
Regardless, though, I think that like they are probably also capitalizing on some kind of food source that's become available that they can exploit that generally you don't see, because like you see. Maybe it's like something you see every once in a while where it's like, okay, these things can get huge when they have the ability to do it. But then for most of Earth history, right, marine life doesn't seem to get quite that big. Like, it can still get very big, but not quite that big. I don't know.
Yeah, because, like, at least in my head, basically I'm like, okay, mosasaurs are absolutely enormous, but, like, it seems like most of them are getting close to and around sperm whale size.
Right, which happens to be the largest, like,
which happens to be the largest, like, active like,
predatory, macro predatory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Marine and secondarily aquatic marine marine animal. I know I'm putting so many like qualifiers on this.
What?
Are you the mosasaur? Am I watching your screen?
You're watching me. Yes, I'm bad at the game, but
no, that's fine. Where are you? I'm coming to find you.
I'm in the ocean somewhere.
Can you look at your map and tell me where in the ocean you are?
Well, if I do that, yeah. I'm in the middle, roughly. I have no idea. No, I'm in the top. I'm in the top right.
Is there a landmark or something near you?
Kelp Vale? Also, Dalton is near me. I think that's Dalton,
I'm trying
right?
to get... You all, yeah, we're in a group.
We are.
I'm coming. I'm coming to the Kelp Vale. I was just there.
Alex, do you have a blue like arrow head
What do you mean?
for your like in your radar
I do not see that. No,
in the upper right? Oh,
no.
there's a pliosaur here. How delightful.
Oh. Is it me?
There's a
Are
large
you next to a
mosasaur near me.
mosasaurus
I think
or a
I'm by
tylosaurus?
myself.
You should. Oh, then no, it's probably not.
Now, we got a question, Amelia, another super chat from Northeast 1776, asking if Mosasaurus and Tylosaurus are like lions and tigers, like very similar but closely related but different.
On the outside, probably. On the inside, no. They're much more different, like skeletally.
Yeah.
And
Well, remember...
James could speak more on this as well, because you talked about this before.
Yeah, well, remember lions and tigers are both members of one genus, right? They're both Panthera. So this is like difference between Tylosaurus purger and Tylosaurus. We're talking about minor degrees of difference where we can tell they're independently evolving lineages. But beyond that, like, they're very, very similar animals. The difference that you're seeing there is going to be, I mean, to use the cat example, maybe more like the difference between a lion and a mountain lion, where they're different. I mean, it's going to be even further than that, really.
I was going to say, it'd be even further.
I mean, it to some degree, it's more like a lion versus a hyena. But, you know,
Yeah.
like a mountain lion is not the same genus as a lion. They have convergently gotten fairly similar looking, but they're very different internally. But the divergence is quite deep. I mean, how long, like, do we have an estimate on when Mosasauridae winds up initially diversifying?
I don't know it offhand. I know that it's more than 100 million years, because that's when the Allosaurs are popping up. But also, more importantly, like, Tylosaurus, the earliest one, appears literally, like, I want to say 93-ish million years ago. And it's Tylosaurus. It is the like, it looks like a freaking mosasaur, and that's it. Like, so they're diverging quite before that. I don't know exactly. If Mike is still here, maybe he'll give me a number.
But
I
like
don't
from
remember.
earliest appearance, it's like 20 million years in the fossil record, something like
Yeah,
that.
well, yeah, because Mosasaurus then doesn't appear for a while. I'm trying to think of what the... At least 10 million years between the appearance of Tylosaurus and the appearance of Mosasaurus.
Yeah. So we have a two-part question. Are mosasaurs the only group both extinct and extant so that we know to convergently evolve more than twice? I'm going to jump in here because I just feel like perhaps there's a
It's a
miscommunication.
misunderstanding.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, I think, you know, maybe a different way of phrasing it will help. Mosasaurs don't convergently evolve. What happens is the group evolves one time. Several independent lineages go into the water, right? This may happen multiple times. Similar transformations may happen multiple times in other groups in ways that you might be surprised by. For instance, I think, I'm not certain on the evolutionary dynamics here, but I would imagine pinnipeds probably have multiple. No, is pinnipeds all
I
one?
don't think so. I think if I remember correctly from when I was looking this up for, like, job applications and postdocs, I think it's only mosasaurs that take it to this extreme. Pinnipeds, maybe. I don't remember offhand.
Well,
But-
what I'll say is theropod dinosaurs evolved flight multiple times, right? Within the group Paraves, our current phylogenetic reconstruction, and this could change, but current phylogenetic estimations have it at 5 separate origins of flight. Once in Scansoriopterigids, once in what leads to birds, once independently in Anchiornis if they could fly, once independently in Rahunavis, and once independently in Microraptor and its relatives. So that would be 5 separate origins of flight. The group evolves one time, and what happens in this sort of a situation is you have like a tendency towards this that's already been established, right? Presumably the common ancestor of mosasaurs was a lizard that already liked living in the water, right? It was not yet a paddled, like fully aquatic animal, but it was a lizard that already liked living in the water, and so that lineage is going to be predisposed to become more specialized for being aquatic. But it's not that the group evolved separately multiple times.
What is this?
I also think that as you better sample the fossil record for pretty much anything, you're probably going to find that this happened more than we think. So, like, I don't know what the general opinion is on the quality of the pinniped fossil record, but I would not be incredibly surprised if we found, like, oh, here's this archaic group of things that were near seals that seem to have become aquatic independently. Right. or a group of, like, if we learn as we get better sampling of the early phase of whale evolution, that maybe whales became aquatic independently several times too. Like, maybe not even in the ancestor of living whales, but maybe some of these other things were independent origins of aquatic behavior. Does that make sense? I think so, because I see a question that seems to imply that.
Yes. Yeah, and I tried to explain that earlier. But yeah, essentially, like, it's not the group of animals that's evolving multiple times, it's the body plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that squamates do all the time. Like, most people know about snakes. I would think most people have heard of snakes.
Raise your hand if you've heard of snakes.
Well, they can't raise
like-
their hand, and that's a cruel joke.
Comment in chat if you've heard
Scott,
of snakes.
are you this large pliosaur that's near me, by the way?
I don't know. I haven't seen another living thing in
I've
ages.
just encountered a How do you see what people's names are?
Alex, are you a Ramphorhynchus again?
No.
Oh, okay. There has been one who's kind of been just, like, following me around while swimming, and it's very funny.
Are you a big mosasaur, Dalton?
Yes.
I am too.
I'm in the Stonebed
following you.
Shoals, and I'm hanging out. I'm going around.
Alex,
we're
is
all
this you?
here. Is who
Alex,
me?
are you a big mosasaur?
No,
Are you the salamander?
I am.
That's awesome. That's
He's
rad.
He's a saltwater tolerant salamander, and I'm really bummed that you can't see what people's. Who attacked me?
It was
James.
It was me,
Either
but
that-
I was trying to go after the Ramphorhynchus.
I wish you could see what the names are. Because, God damn it! But this also ruins the joke of the mosasaur I made. So,
What was that joke?
well, I did an all-white prognathodon, and it was going to be, and the name was Stab at Thee, and my gross salamander's name is Average Skeleton Crew Viewer.
Oh my god.
I tried to.
Okay, so
Alex.
briefly, I got Mike is still here and says that the divergence of the mosasaur group seems to have been ghost lineages suggest that it was in the late Cenomanian that they diversified.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, and then we got another question.
Yes.
Congrats on the paper, thank you. Question about their tails. Do we know if any of them had eel-like paddles, or did they all seem to have flukes? It seems like more of them had flukes than not. So there was a paper that came out, I think literally last year, that I actually got to review, that was about using modern animals to predict the size and the shape of tail flukes in mosasaurs. It was pretty awesome. And like, so some of the early things, like the Agialosaurus, Dallosaurus, that kind of stuff, had little eel tails, but most of them had at least a nubbin, it seemed, according to this paper and the way that they were estimating it. So, so anything derived had a shark tail, probably, most likely. And there is like skeletal evidence of that. Like, I think Tylosaurus is one of the ones that had like a relatively smaller fluke, like compared to like mosasaurians. But you can still see the skeletal evidence of where it's at. So like, actually, it's really clear on the skeleton that's on display at the American Museum. The vertebrae kind of shift, like the top spines of the vertebrae kind of shift in their orientation. There's a part where they're kind of facing each other, and that's the part where that fluke would have been supported. So this paper, if I remember correctly, they were using sharks and like the shape of the vertebrae, the neural spines of the vertebrae and the tails of modern sharks, and how that correlated with size and shape of the flukes. And they made like a mathematical model that would predict that based on mosasaur tails. Pretty awesome. I don't remember the authors. I know, oh my god, what is his name? Lindgren. Lindgren is on it. He's typically on these soft tissue mosasaur papers. He's really awesome. I don't think he was lead though. I think it was one of his students, but it just came out last year. Yeah.
Amelia, you've been asked to talk a little bit more about what makes Tyrannosaurus kind of so different.
Oh, I have to think about Tyrannosaurus now. So
What doesn't?
we'll start. So Tyrannosaurus is the genus that's found in the Pacific Ocean. It is, as far as I can think of right now, the only Tylosaurine found in the Pacific fauna. There's a lot of weird shit going on in that thing. So like the skull roof, the shape of the frontal bone. So the frontal is basically the forehead bone. It sits on top in between their eyes. In most animals, it's paired. There's two frontals. In mosasaurs, they fuse it all into this big plate. And in Tyrannosaurus, it's like a shield shape. So it's like got a flat, if you're looking down on the skull, the back suture of the frontal is straight, and then ahead of that it's like curved in like a shield shape, or almost not a teardrop, but like it's really curved and it's weird. Typically in Tylosaurians, it's a triangle. It's a triangle or a kite. So actually, like in text, one of the distinguishing features is that it's kind of like a kite shape. It kind of looks like that. Tyrannosaurus is like that, but then like that. It's weird. The jaw is curved in a way that's wrong. Like, I'm trying to remember exactly. It's got a weird curve. I think it's to the upper jaw, which is not typically seen in these things. Something's wrong with the quadrate. I'm trying to remember what it is. I feel like the quadrate has like, it's just it's weirder and skinnier than it should be. It's got like an extra process or a flange or something where it shouldn't. I say it shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like it's not typical of Tylosaurus.
How did this get here?
It's got, the teeth are really weird. They're really like, if I remember correctly, they're not just faceted, but they're fluted. Fluted is when they're like, it has facets, but they're concave. The way the frontal and the parietal come together is different and wrong and not the same. Like the way the bones overlap is different and wrong. There's something else about it too. The parietal's wrong, and then most importantly, vibes are wrong. It just, something's wrong, and I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to put like a pin exactly on it. Oh, and then of course the history is screwed up. So I think the holotype, or part of the holotype, still exists, and we know where that is, of the original Tyrannosaurus. It's from Antarctica. The first one was from Antarctica, or I think Oweni is from Antarctica. It might not be. It might be New Zealand. I can't remember. No, it's from New Zealand. Because the other one's from Antarctica. Antarcticus is from Antarctica. Tyrannosaurus Oweni. The skull still exists, but it was found, or it was described as having a paddle, like a flipper, and that was like sunk to the bottom of the ocean or something. It's gone. I don't know, because it was like the 1800s. They're shipping fossils on boats, so that's gone. But also, it was written off as not going to Tyrannosaurus because it looks like a mosasaurine paddle. And Tyrannosaurus, everybody thinks is a Tylosaurine because it's got a rostrum. I don't know. It's weird. There's no other evidence other than, well, it shouldn't have that, and that's why it's been disregarded. And I guess it doesn't matter because it's gone anyway at the bottom of the ocean. So, something's cursed about it. Something's haunted about it. I don't know enough. I haven't seen the material myself. It's just something that, like, I look at it and it bugs me out. Like something's off. So it's something that I hope to investigate eventually, but like time and money. Mostly money. I've tried to investigate it. So a lot of these fossils are in New Zealand. New Zealand is expensive for me in America to travel to. And I've written several grants to try to get there, and they just never worked out. And now I have a different kind of job where travel is just more difficult in general because I have a more standard schedule. Most of my priorities right now are actually running like our field trip programs and educational programs, temporary exhibits, like stuff like that. Like, so it's a kind of a different role now that I have. So research visits are not top priority. And if they were, I'd actually be pivoting to focus more on some local stuff here in Wisconsin. But yeah, like, long story short, vibes aren't right. But there are some, like, hard and anatomical differences that just make it very strange and very unique. Yes.
I'm sorry, I just apologize. I want to apologize to the pterosaur of some variety who I just killed in one bite. But I had to learn how my ability worked, and I thank whoever it was for their sacrifice. I am very sorry. I'm very sorry.
Alex just bit a chunk out of me. That's quite rude.
I'm so quick.
Where the hell are you guys?
We're in the Kelp Vale.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in it's like the northern, you know that like if you look on the northern right half of the map,
Yeah.
it's kind of like there's a large vertical channel that's going between two large islands.
Oh, yes.
We're north of that, just north of the island on the right.
I'm so far away from
Where are
Oh,
you?
wait.
I am that little like archipelago sort of thing that's down to the southeast of that big kind of inverted teardrop island. I'm south of that.
Oh, wow. Well, folks,
So I'll start making my way
no,
over
let's
there.
go meet you. We've been here for a while. I think we should
How
branch
do I?
out.
Okay, so I finally loaded into the game. I was supposed to not have to load,
south.
but I had to load. Is the Texas
Ooh,
skin something?
Kirsten,
don't
I
get
would
until
love a
I'm in the game?
teleport. Also, are we to
I don't know
ask
how to
out
get
loud the question that I put in chat? Are we sharing where we're playing?
I think it's pretty obvious, but yes.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
we're in the
'cause
Nat.
we're in NatHist, yeah.
Yeah, we're in NatHist light realism.
Shout out to a friend of the channel, Kirsten Formoso, who
Yes,
no,
has
oh! Thank
given
you.
us this space to exist in as we play
Yes,
a game we
and-
don't really understand.
Yes, and also
What am I doing? I don't know.
Kirsten also provided the skeletal drawing that we use in the paper to fill in to show how complete our holotype is. Yes, thank you very much, Kirsten. She's known about this for some time now and has been waiting patiently with us.
Look, I'm trying to convergently re-evolve terrestriality. It's working.
Someone kept biting
secondarily-
and picking me up for doing nothing.
Amelia, you were asking about the...
Tertiarily terrestrial mosasaur. Sorry, go on.
Mosasaur?
I think Amelia was asking about the skin.
How do I get my goofy Texas skin?
Yeah, I couldn't quite understand that either. I also realized I've had Path of Titans volume turned completely off this whole time.
Oh my God,
Oh, so did I.
James.
Hey, listen. It's not like people didn't start didn't continue watching the stream, rather. We have a lot of concurrent viewers. Like 200, that's a lot.
Yeah.
For us. You know,
That is quite a
I'm
lot.
not Mr. Beast.
The skin's called Diamondback, someone said.
No, I know that. I just don't know what skin is in this context. That's fine.
It's, I think,
Is
the
it-
species.
No, it's you have to
have to,
make
like-
your character first, and
Yeah.
then there's like a skin menu once you're in the game. Once you're in the server.
Okay, I will look at that.
Why don't I time out and just start dying
I
when
just
I'm
see
on
my phone.
land as a multiple ton lizard?
Because you're resting.
You gotta wiggle. Look at you go. That's so realistic. I'm sure Kirsten has thoughts about how they're moving right now, how you're wiggling around in the sand. It is very funny. He's like putzing. Hold on a
We
second,
had
I'll be right back.
I'm harassing people, eating fish to fully heal after they bite me, and I'm just going to keep doing that until someone kills me.
Hell yeah.
We had a super chat who asked about our thoughts on the Tylosaurus from Jurassic Park, the game, the Telltale game, the design there.
Ooh, it's real weird. I it's a very interesting design, but like, it's definitely one. It falls in that category of, at least for me, if you didn't tell me it was Tylosaurus, I wouldn't have guessed it was supposed to be.
James, where are you? Whoa, a crab!
I've picked up
Oh,
a
no.
friendly ichthyosaur.
The crab is trying to harm me, but we're friends. All right, Mr.
I'm
Crab.
trying to find Dalton.
You
Dalton,
wanna
why don't you
catch
send
these
Alex a
hands?
group invite? Or perhaps you did and he ignored it.
I don't think I think you have to be the same species
Oh,
to be in a group. I also didn't try, so I don't know. Because I don't understand how
oh, this must be
game functions.
Amelia. Maybe. Maybe not.
Let me see what I can do about this from the social menu.
Am I going to be killed by this crab?
I don't think I can add anyone else. I'm gonna... Hang on. Cancel this. It's good that when you hover over things, it doesn't have a tooltip.
I can't eat it. I killed the stupid crab and I can't eat it.
Oh,
Oh, this is a good question. Is the lack of a blowhole, and thank you Persian King for the super chat, is the lack of a blowhole-esque structure in all marine reptiles, sans sea turtles, an indication that they were not diving as deeply as modern cetaceans?
Ooh. Is a blowhole required for deep diving?
That's my question. I don't know.
Hi, Jake.
It's
Hello.
I wouldn't have thought so.
And he
No,
super
seals get
chatted
pretty
again
deep.
to finish the question. Oh, and don't forget, and forgot to say congrats, Amelia. Well, Amelia's not here right now. She stepped away, so you'll have to say it again, I suppose.
We'll pass it along.
But
Kill me.
I think the lack of a blowhole is probably more due to lacking a mammalian-style nasopharyngeal passage.
That'd be
You're
my
correct.
guess.
Oh, thank God, someone finally killed me. Okay.
Is this the abyssal depths?
I have been teleported. I'm at the abyssal depth.
I found the abyssal depths. There's a dangerous critter I need to hunt or be hunted by.
I found a
Sorry.
bones.
I didn't mean to shout. I just saw the baby Tylosaurus, and it's so cute.
It is very cute.
Oh, I think I'm being teleported again. Oh, Dalton. Hello.
I found the
Oh,
creature.
hello. There, I see you.
Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna enter this world. I haven't played this game on my computer before. I've played, and I don't remember.
Also,
anything.
where are the Nares on Pliosaurus?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Dalton.
They are they're pushed back quite a bit.
But are they like dorsal?
Let me look at a skull real quick.
Aren't you playing one? Look at your.
I'm going to the sacred text of a fossil photo. They're pretty dorsal.
Maybe.
Yeah, those are pretty dorsal.
How do blowholes work skeletally? They're just. I mean, they're functionally just the external Nares. You're just moving it back and on top.
Dominic the Donkey, thank you so. First of all, one of my favorite
Oh.
songs.
Amazing.
I do
My-
love Dominic the Donkey. Thank you. So
One
much.
of my
We do.
favorite vaguely anti-Italian Christmas carols. But
Is it?
I don't know. That's I believe so. That's the way I've always read it. But I think it's wonderful.
Why?
Anyway,
Everything is anti-Italian discrimination.
it is all anti-Italian discrimination. At least that's what somebody told me once, I guess. Yeah, perhaps I'm wrong. But regardless of my feelings on the song or my misconceptions about them, thank you for the $100 super chat. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you so much. Very, very kind.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
Oh my God, I'm so far away.
I'm in the abyssal depths here.
It doesn't look that abyssal. You can see pretty clear.
Now, there's a large pliosaur of some kind here.
Oh,
So,
There's
Amelia,
fish in
we've
the
had a
sky
couple
where I
questions while you were
Yes.
gone.
yes.
There was one on what is our opinion of, and I guess this would very much be specifically your opinion on the Tylosaurus design from the Telltale Jurassic Park game.
Is that the really like spiky one?
Yes.
It's the really
Yeah.
spiky one with all the like teeth on its
It's kind of
tail.
lumpy.
And it's got like stripes.
And it's got stripes and a big weird like grin.
Yeah, it's cool. It kicks ass. How do I go down? How do I play this game? Can you give me a really quick rundown on the controls?
C or control goes down.
Yeah, and space
Oh.
goes up.
Are we all being swimbos?
We're all being swimbos.
Go.
Where's my breath? Or do
Bottom right.
I see.
Or
okay.
middle right, yeah, I guess.
Apparently, this salamander skin I'm using is a Coolasuchus. So how about that? Which I think would die in salt water.
Is
really
this salt water? It's called Rhyparia, right?
I'm seeing an ocean
There is
sunfish
kelp.
in front of me.
Oh,
So,
I've been transported. Thank you.
oh, is that what happened to me too? Now I'm somewhere.
Yeah.
I also
different.
really appreciated
Get the shit out of you. Get over here.
the species that I could select was Queenslandicus, which makes me very happy.
How do I attack? Can I attack this manta
you
ray?
mean
What
the
is that?
Eactus?
Yeah, your left click should be like bound to bite. You might have to go into a menu to do that.
Okay.
I can't.
You have
Go
to
up
sleep
the river for the
first.
fun.
There's fun?
There's a river.
Oh, there is a river. Okay, I see.
I'll go up the river.
I'll go up the river if there's fun.
Well, of course.
I was promised fun.
Go east. I thought you said west.
There's an ichthyosaur harassing me. I'll bite you. I don't like ichthyosaurs.
I would add more of the crew to my group, but I don't think I'm friends with them.
Oh.
Whoa, are these the abyssal depths?
There's a Spingosaurus watching us. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
elephant seals can dive super deep. Yeah, I know. Don't walruses also dive crazy deep?
I think they can, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard something about that.
Block. No, I'll accept that. I imagine. I don't know who this is.
What are
Oh, the ichthyosaur. Okay.
well,
I don't know how to use my
if
breach ability.
James,
need
I don't
to
know if you and Scott have like the permissions to add people to our group, but you might be able to add the folks who need added.
Well, let me see if I'm friends with them. I'm not. I'm not.
Oh my god. You know what thought popped into my moron brain?
Oh, what's that?
Earlier when someone asked, like, oh, is this, mosasaurs? Does anything else do that? You know what does that a lot?
Vegan crocodiles.
Yeah, the thing that makes that shape 6 times. Embarrassing for me.
I think there. Yeah, sorry, Dalton. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to point out a bit of anatomy is when you dive, you see the underside of the animal, and not to be
Ooh,
odd about it, but it does have a transverse cloacal slit as a lepidosaur should have.
I'm getting attacked by a
Hey,
Spinosaurus.
look at that.
So some nice attention to detail. This is a really pretty model.
It's beautiful.
Really good. Not that I had
Oh,
anything
look,
to do with it. Wink, wink. But
While I
Someone
don't
has-
understand this game at all, in any capacity, I've always
No.
thought the models are very, very pretty.
yes. Someone posted it in chat. A good question.
What is that?
Do you want to share it, or?
Which is deep diving birds also don't have retracted nares compared to others, as far as I know. And would you know most of them, not all of them, but many of them just literally close their external nares with keratin?
I was about to say,
Oh,
Alex
I thought
has
you
some
meant
very
internal.
interesting things to say about.
Well, they
bird
close the
nares.
external ones and do horrible things with their palatines with the internal ones. It's what
I
we
see.
call bad in scientific parlance. Yeah, and cormorants, phalacrocorax, and frigate birds a little bit.
Really, frigate birds? Huh.
It's gross. They're I think theirs are functional, just small.
Are they also like, I guess, plunge hunting? Like,
I don't know. That's a good question.
Do penguins count as marine reptile? Yes, they do.
100%.
And they would be a good choice for a favorite marine reptile when kind of something. All right. Now I see another player, so I'm just going to attack them until I die again because I don't really know what else to do.
I think we've had a few questions about comparing the size of Tylosaurus Rex to Mosasaurus hoffmanni and what that
Okay,
size comparison looks like.
I'll go over that again. Like in short, we can't be super sure because there aren't any that I'm aware of complete Mosasaurus hoffmanni skeletons. At least I haven't measured them if there are. Or I haven't seen them. So the size estimates that we get for Rex and for other Tylosaurus. So again, if you download that supplemental data, you'll get body estimates for every Tylosaurus that I could get them for. But we did that by kind of like working backwards to like fact check them, if you will, against complete specimens. So we couldn't do that with Mosasaurus at all because there aren't any. Well, there are very few complete skeletons, and I did not measure the ones that do exist. So I can't really give you an exact estimate of how big the Hoff was. I would guess that they were comparable, because I've seen some big Hoff pieces. The catch, though, is that Mosasaurus, so Mosasaurus is a Mosasaurine, which is one of those separate lineages of Mosasaurs. And they are proportionally different from Tylosaurines in that their heads are relatively bigger. So even though their skulls are by and away on average larger, their whole bodies were not necessarily, because they were just kind of like stumpier in their proportions. So if a Tylosaurus and a Mosasaurus have a skull that's the
Walk
same
into
size,
a bar. No.
The Tylosaurus is going to be bigger. But that said, I saw the largest quadrate I've ever seen for a Mosasaurus and Maastricht, and it's freaking isolated. Like, this is how it goes, right? Like, you see all these bits and pieces that are huge, and it's never the whole thing. I would guess that one would be larger, but I don't know. Because we just don't have... Again, we didn't have the data to be able to actually assess that. But on par. Like, tentatively, I think they're on par. The Hoff was big, but Tex was also big.
I'm hunting a dangerous critter.
I've chased a Spinosaurus onto land.
Ooh, good.
I managed to break its femur at one point.
How do you know this?
Well, I saw its femur broken sticking out of the model.
That's tough. I have forsaken my swimming obligations.
This was a bad idea. I should not
I
have
have
pursued
hunted
the
the dangerous
Spinosaurus
critter.
onto
It was a Mixosaurus, and I ran it aground.
Someone is trying... Someone's trying to give me a fish. I don't know why.
Apparently, I am.
Oh, it's a muskie. That's hilarious.
I'm
Incredible.
collecting eyeballs.
I'm collecting... Oh, who's interrupting me? Go away. Ugly. I'm collecting bones. Who'd have thought?
Very out of character.
I know. And then there's this burrowing pliosaur that's harassing me.
This is the slowest terrestrial traversal I've seen in my life. This is amazing. I do look like I am about to die being on land.
I mean, that's awesome.
I am
guess.
gonna die. I should not have. This was a bad idea.
Nope.
Yeah,
You've left the group.
I did.
Did he
Listen,
perish?
I did perish. I forgot that chasing it onto land was a bad idea. I forgot that I had an Ali Aramis character named Tony Soprano.
I'm playing my little...
I might play
Where-
something other than the time.
Where are you guys?
Kevin Prim is asking if any of us will be at the Field Museum's Pokemon exhibition this weekend, and I think I can very confidently speak for all of us that no, sadly no.
This weekend?
No, I'm planning to go and make an enormous fortune. I'm going to be selling deodorant.
Alex,
No, I would love to go. I saw the little Helio Pikachu and I was like, damn, that's cute as hell.
I have tickets to go in July. I could not get anything sooner. Ooh, I failed a group quest. Oh, my bad.
I
want this crab. Oh my god,
I am
the
going to
baby.
be very soon gone for a very long time.
Oh god. Oh, I'm running out of
Ominous.
steam. I gotta get back
It's
to
very
work.
ominous, but what I mean is I'm about to leave on field work, so that
is ominous.
Scott's going to a farm upstate.
I'm going to a farm down under.
He's my
one might say.
preparator.
James, the number of times we made that joke in the wilderness first aid class, that was just like, at what point is it like not feasible to or practical to save Scott's life if he manages to hurt himself in a suitable way down under, and we're 3 hours from the nearest hospital? And then it was the conversation of who gets to do it. And it was the whole, he's my preparator.
Yeah. Scott, also, you are nearly off your camera, and I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh. Oh,
It's
good.
It's just looking down the hall to your bathroom.
Huh.
Whoops, didn't mean
That's
that.
very funny.
That must have been Jake. Apologies.
Oh,
Apparently, Al is just being a tremendous menace to Shelby right now.
Oh my God. I can while we're in between questions on this for the moment, I can spin a fun yarn from wilderness first aid training that I did this week. So we I'm to drop all of the pretense. I'm going to Australia soon to do some field work. I'm very excited. I'm really looking forward to it. And in preparation, I and a couple of our other folks in the Pierce Lab took wilderness first aid to make sure that we were all up on what to do if anything bad were to happen on any of the field work that we do. And it was taught very well. The guy who was running it actually began the class by asking, like, hey, what's everybody, like, why is everybody taking wilderness first aid? Where's everybody going in the not too distant future? What are people interested in? All that sort of stuff. And we had, because it was through the Harvard museums, we had like an archaeologist who was going to Jordan, we had some wildlife biologists going to Kenya, we had us going to Australia, and some future field work to Canada that we have in our back pocket. And we had one group there that were some primatologists who were going to the Congo.
Oh wow.
And they were in particular going for they were like, oh yeah, it's probably going to be a couple months. Some people are there, they're studying chimps or bonobos actually. And they were, and they mentioned it was like, yeah, sometimes hardcore people are there for a year plus. But so yeah, it was fun to have like scenarios that were specifically tailored around some of the things that we could encounter. But at one point, the instructor asked us if we had any stories from our previous field work of people using first aid to help folks out. And this one woman tells this story about a few years ago, one of the researchers in the Congo tripped and broke her leg in 3 places.
Oh,
no.
that's
bad.
And apparently the she was very luckily with other people, and one of the people who she was with had to go run back to camp that was about 2 kilometers away to alert people that bad stuff had happened. They sent off a group to the local village that was several miles away. I know I'm mixing my units here, but farther, a lot farther away. And many hours later, they came back with, as she phrased it, the local village bone setter.
Cool.
Of course,
To,
position of honor, I'm sure.
Yes, to come help them out. And he took one look and like very lightly felt her leg and was able to diagnose, yeah, you've broken it in 3 places and it's misaligned. We're gonna have to realign you. And realigned her broken leg right there. And then they carried her back to camp. And when she got back to camp, she had to be realigned again. It had gotten out of alignment again. So they made a better splint there. And then they had to take her again several miles to the village, because that was how they would get to the way that they would get out of there, the local airfield. Now, the local airfield was a little bit farther of a trek. It was a 9-hour motorcycle ride away. And
Cool.
that was
That's what you
the
wanna do on a
only
broken
form
leg.
of transport that they had. So the way that they did this was they had someone riding the motorcycle. They had her sitting backwards, tied to the man who was riding the motorcycle upright, with another person between her legs, holding her splinted leg up. for the whole 9 hours of riding on a back road in Kenya, in the Congo. And the only painkiller that they had was Advil. And eventually they got to the airstrip, and then managed to fly to a local to a bigger town, and then they had to fly. I think ultimately they ended up going to Johannesburg to get her medical attention, and so all told, from injury to like first treatment, it was a roughly 3 days.
Oh,
And
that's bad.
oh yeah, and when she got back to the States, because of how damaged everything was for that trip, she did have to have multiple surgeries, but now apparently she no longer walks with a limp.
Oh, good.
But like, dear God.
That's not good.
That's a
Yeah.
horrible thing.
Yeah, you know it's bad when the instructor is just like, I'm stealing that story, I'm telling that forever. Are you kidding me?
Well, I thought you were gonna tell the other story of a thing that you told us that someone had happened to them in the field.
Which one's this?
The one where the solution you sent was a picture of a rock hammer.
Oh. Oh, goodness. Goodness, what was...
You don't have to say who it was, but like, there's a Dinochirus walking on the bottom of the ocean.
Hey,
Oh, they
Caleb
do.
Kennedy, 4797. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat.
Oh, thank you.
That's so generous of you. Thank you.
I'm trying to see what the...
And Amelia, there's a question on it for you.
Okay. I see that. Okay, yes. If we think the more serrated teeth of text tell us anything about its ecology and how it's different from prorigor, I think it was probably breaking down larger prey, and it was helping them to like tear them apart, basically. Because that's the other species that you see it in, like Prognathodon seems to have been breaking down other reptiles into multiple pieces instead of just like swallowing things whole. So that would be my guess. But we didn't do any like finite or whatever what do they do with the teeth?
Microwear
isotopic analysis?
Yeah, we didn't do microwear. We didn't do any analysis like that. That's just kind of my off the cuff guess based on what it seems like other mosasaurs with serrated teeth were doing.
Oh, Scott, you reminded me.
Yeah?
Have I shared my my story of needing to seek medical attention in the field while in Africa with you guys before?
You potentially have. You've shared
I
have
think
some
I've
fun
heard
stories.
this.
I don't think I've heard this one. The
Where-
only one I know of is the antelope story.
Ah, no, that's a good story too. This one's not personally embarrassing to me though. No, of a friend of mine, while we were trying to get like a massive spondylus out, this was when we were in Lesotho, jackhammered his big toe. He wasn't paying
Don't
attention.
do that. Suboptimal, one might say.
And it broke the toe. It didn't break the shoe. Like it didn't like the whatever like didn't like pierce the shoe, but like we looked and his like foot, the tip of his foot was bleeding, and it had broken the bone up through the toe. And then we had to go find someone who would fix that. And we went into the village, and we found a building that had the only English words on it were Chinese surgery, and we're like, all right, $4 X-ray later, and a general anesthetic that was administered via like cartoon needle into the side of his gluteus maximus, which we of course photographed. Him grimacing in a funny way. And regularly share that amongst ourselves. He was fine.
Oh, this is a very good story. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I didn't use any names, so no one can get mad at me. It's not a crew member for people curious.
Well, I think that you gave away that it wasn't when you were asking if we knew about it.
That's a good point.
But, man, Yeah, no. First aid. If you're going out in somewhere remote, you gotta make sure that you know your stuff when it comes to that.
Yeah, you should know how to do at least first aid, possibly even second aid.
Indeed.
All of a sudden, I am not a little bitty thing.
Also, for people who have asked, am I going to track down the maniac while I'm there? I am genuinely going to try. I know some people at the Queen.
Going around with a clipboard, just like, excuse me,
you
sir, do you know the maniac?
Do you know the maniac? I know a couple people at the Queensland Museum. I know a couple people by proxy at the Queensland Museum that know a bit more about Queensland paleontology history. And
I used to know a bit more about maniacs.
oh, I know quite a few people who know about maniacs. Many of them are in this call, but yeah, I'm gonna be asking around, and it's gonna be a very fun time. So there are possibly going to be some upcoming videos that I do not appear in, and that is because I am in a land down under.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. We've got, like, I mean, probably not for a while. I think there's going to be a lag because we've got enough recorded to save us, keep us going rather through the time you'll be away for what we have on deck ready to go. I just finished editing a video that will release at some point in the future that I'm very happy with.
Yeah, we got 2 on deck right now, ready to release. I'm editing 2 more. I'm
working on one more right now because I have a big paper coming out soon, and so I'm trying to make a video to go with it, but we will see. Well, everybody's already read this paper, hopefully, or they should have, because it's my... I guess I can say this, right? The ontogeny preprint paper is accepted as a real paper now, so that means everybody can stop pretending that it doesn't exist and not citing it. Amelia cited it.
I did.
She did. One of a privileged few. But I've been told that people are ignoring me saying in reviews, you have to at least acknowledge that this research exists because it's not peer-reviewed. And now they can stop doing that.
There you go. Someone has asked if we are reviewing Jurassic World Evolution 3 animals. That happens to one of the videos that is
at some point
on deck is talking about that. We are not, I think, planning on doing it quite as regularly as we did for Jurassic World Evolution 2, but certainly at least the new fellows we would like to chat about.
Indeed.
We've also been pretty fortunate in that I thought by this point we would be so inundated, there'd be 13 or 14 new DLC animals that we had to talk about.
Oh yeah, it seems like
that's not the case.
Yeah, it seems a lot of people were wondering if that would be the case.
Oh wait, is this a known thing?
A little bit, in the sense that a lot of people have been very disappointed that there haven't been any DLC for quite a while.
Yeah, and they skipped the April free dinosaur.
Oh, did they?
Oh, yeah.
They did, yeah. They announced that they were going to have to do that very late, so people were upset about it. I have not been following it tremendously closely, but a few of the tweets crossed my path. I'm going to mute myself because I've got to cough just horribly.
Yeah, it really has been oddly quiet. I wonder if I know a lot of the rumors have been that we know that they're working on Planet Zoo 2, and if that's taking a lot of dev time, but also a lot of the forgive me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the stuff really should be kind of done, or it should be just art stuff. Which I know is not nothing, but
also I know people have been speculating.
Please ignore me drowning myself. By the way, I don't want to play as a Quetzalcoatlus anymore.
Maybe they are working on the Rebirth DLC, and it's taken more effort. There's also all of the Jurassic Park social media accounts went silent for a whole month, so it might have been something on Universal's end. I'm not going to pretend to know what's going on, and I'm also not going to pretend to care that much, to be honest. It'll happen when it happens.
Oh, speaking of games going dark, this is just a personal one that, James, I think you'll get a little bit of a kick out of. You know what was just announced that it's being taken out back and shot?
Oh no, what?
Destiny 2. It's dead.
It's dead.
It's dead.
Yeah, it's dead.
They're killing it. Killing
They're
it.
killing it. They're killing it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't have happened to a game that existed.
Couldn't have
More.
happened to a game that existed more.
I remember when I tried to play Destiny 2 after maybe 2 or 3 years, because I played it when it launched and I really enjoyed it for a while, but I never got any of the expansions. And then
Weren't you
I like-
gifted Witch Queen? Like
I was gifted Witch
ages
Queen,
ago.
and so I went to go play, and I was like, oh, let me check in, and I was like, oh, that's a really pretty like koi fish skin someone has. I don't know how they're sticking their tongue out at me. That's delightful. But anyway, I went to like try to play the campaign from when the game launched, and it was just gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They
Like,
did
that's
do
a,
that.
That's a cool way to run a video game.
They really did delete
I'm sorry,
a lot of content that people genuinely paid for.
Yeah, like when you first like bought Destiny 2, there was like the kind of main campaign story, which I thought, as someone fairly ignorant of Destiny, because I didn't play the first one, I was like, I enjoyed this, and it was kind of cool. I was like, maybe I'll play some of those missions again. Nope, just gone.
Huh. Well, I'll be.
That is a thing that I love that they can do now, is just like decide a game doesn't exist anymore.
It's genuinely one of the things that, like, if I had the time to devote to it, I would love to work a bit with like video game video game preservation in museum work. That like the ability, like, because it is something that is genuinely a very interesting, unique video game problem. That like that there are some games that are just kind of unplayable now. They are forms of art that are unexperienceable. It would be like if Starry Night was just like, no, it's just gone forever now because the museum didn't want to show it anymore. It's like
They
you can never
shredded it.
experience it again. And
Well,
it is something that I do think is very sad. Like a lot of these old multiplayer games, and like as a firm, like, yes, video games are an art form kind of person that like
Even
yeah, it's-
Destiny 2.
hey, I would say all video games are art, and it is an independent distinction of whether something is good art or not. But yeah, no, it's sad. It's a sad thing.
Yeah,
And
no, it is.
I know that like there are really interesting like efforts being done around like trying to buy up old servers and keep old games running with bots and stuff like that, so they could at least be experienceable. And that was something that was helpful for a lot of the old school kind of multiplayer games. It was like, oh yeah, that like they had a bot mode and stuff, but a lot of the modern ones, it's like, nope, no one can go back and play Destiny 2 right now. It's like, yeah. Anyways, soapbox over.
No, that's a.
I honestly can't believe they're just deciding the game doesn't exist anymore. Also, can somebody please teleport me to near where my friends are, because I'm lost.
I'm lost as well. I started building a nest because it told me to, but I don't.
I'm also
Care
lost,
about it.
but I'm having a fun time.
I wonder if I
being
can
lost.
fly off this waterfall.
And I would add.
Spinosaurus.
Oh, hang on. Well, I can't seem to add you, James, to my party.
You are. It's over for you, Mr. Fish.
We've got another super
Another
chat from
super
Persian
chat.
King. Thank you very much. Who
Yes,
asked,
thank you.
assuming that there's a correlation, if mosasaurs and larger pliosaurs never happened, would the Thalattosuchians have reached similar sizes and filled a similar role?
Ooh, that's a good question.
My gut answer is no.
Eh,
Because like
No, go
haven't we discussed previously that the weird possible like restrictions on archosaurs around live birth?
Well, apparently... Well, I don't know.
No,
I mean, it doesn't seem to have prevented, like, aquatic crocodilians from becoming fully aquatic, right?
No, but I'm saying that like they would have to
Is
stay
there a size cap?
small enough that they could survive coming up on land to lay eggs.
Mm.
I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
not
Some
even.
of the big ones are big.
That's not a size thing. Also, that's a is your pelvis connected to your spine or not thing. Like
Oh,
even
fair.
I mean, like let me put it this way: like even a small dolphin can't just go up on land, right? Like I mean,
Right.
they can survive it transiently, right? But it's not a body mass thing, right? It's like it's the body cavity collapsing and putting pressure on the lungs and heart and everything like that.
Gotcha. Yes.
Because there are terrestrial animals far larger than a dolphin.
No.
No, there's not.
Sorry to tell you this, but
Oh,
there's not.
Wrong, actually.
Wait, say that again.
I said
There's-
there are terrestrial animals that are larger than a dolphin.
No. Yeah.
No,
No.
there's not.
No. Dalton was correct on this.
I know it's like not possible, but I do really like the way they plap around with their little flippers.
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's a delight.
I like when they go really fast and they're an all-wheel drive.
Yeah, Michimosaurus gets like
Quite large.
maybe upwards of 8 meters. Also, those might be to some degree saltwater tolerant. I'm sorry, freshwater tolerant. I guess it's not even tolerant. They just can go and they've been found in like such spots before. But I think they're even like big. They're pretty big geosaurines too. And also, I mean, fundamentally, my belief about this is that all of these groups' records are so bad that you could never prove any kind of like causal trend relationship like that.
Also, I
Oh.
mean, in general, don't aquatic crocodilians isn't that like a middle Jurassic phenomenon with like metriorhynchids and everything?
No, they persist into like the 130, 120 million years ago.
No, but I
so
mean
the
that's when they
Cretaceous.
they appear in the Jurassic, right? In middle Jurassic.
Oh yeah, they appear. No, they appear in the early Jurassic.
Okay, so like they certainly have time to get big. It's not a they didn't have the opportunity and then something else became big in their place. Like they were around for much longer than Mosasaurus. If they were
Yes.
going to become very large, I think it would have happened.
Who's this pliosaur dragging himself
Oh,
across?
everyone got
was me.
I did not.
That was
I
me.
did not get teleported.
Also, on that topic, for the person who was asking why are the devs or why are the mods teleporting them around, that's because we are bad at the game and we don't play it very often, so we're kind of just wandering aimlessly.
Yes, that was someone else's question too. They were like, "Oh, what's like? How much experience do you have playing the Titans?"
Actually, one of the really, really cool things about the Skeleton Crew is you can actually see the entirety of our experience playing Path of Titans.
Yeah.
Because it is only when we stream that we actually play it. This is not a game that we play frequently in the slightest.
How do you latch on?
My name is Paleo Man 12. I think Dalton's name is Dalton.
Did you say Dalton's name is Dalton?
Someone in chat did, which is very funny. Because
That's
Chris was
very
asking my name to teleport me. Yeah.
It was like earlier. Who is that?
There we
He was
go.
like, that's Amelia. That's your friend. I was very proud of that
Oh,
one.
I've
That was
been
a
brought
really
to the
good
land. Thank you. Clap.
Yes,
Clap.
thank you, Taylor. I don't know what Alex grabbed, but
Brian, I'd love it if we played Elden Ring just for kicks.
What do we play most of the time?
Helldivers.
Goodness. We play Helldivers when we're playing together. I got teleported in the middle of a meal. Damn.
Rip.
Let's see. I was literally having chats with my girlfriend the other day about like, God, I can't remember the last time I just sat down and played a video game for myself. But James and Dalton and I have been playing a bit of Ready or Not recently.
Yeah.
Yes, and Ready or Not's the game we play when I want to make my friends upset. When I'm like, we have to play on realistic difficulty.
Yeah, because James refuses to play almost any game on anything less than
The
the
hardest
absolute hardest difficulty
The
ever.
the last
Um,
time we played Helldivers, it's like the new map and all these new things and everything's exploding, and he's like, "We're gonna play 10," and we lost everything, and it was terrible.
It was very fun, actually.
Kirsten literally ran over me and killed me.
Oh my god.
Wow.
it's
But why?
How does that? Is she a car?
She's big and I'm very little.
Ah, I see. Lamau.
like James, I'm very surprised that your idea of playing a card game together isn't just like we're going to sit here and put paper cuts in between our fingers until someone loses.
No, it's
Like-
it's going to a casino and playing blackjack now. My only time doing that, I lost all the money I had with me immediately, and then all the money 2 friends gave me to keep me in the game. And I was like, this is very fun. And that's why I don't
Jesus
gamble.
Christ, James.
I was like, I've learned something about myself, and thankfully, like, listen, I'm pretty lucky, right? If there's a thing that I'm gonna have a potential problem with, it's not alcohol, right? Like I can go out drinking and then I can stop drinking and that's fine. I've never really been that appealed to by hard drugs. You know what I mean? It's good that it's the thing where it's like I have to go to a casino and I have to give somebody a lot of money immediately. I'm glad there's barriers in place.
I'm not going to tell you that there's actually other ways with less barriers, but
Well,
Yeah,
I don't want to
actually,
do
it seems
online
like it's a
sports
vested
betting.
interest of the U.S. government.
That is true.
currently, that everyone gambles all of their money away.
That is true. I also
Especially children.
I think this was something that you actually gave me the idea for, Alex, but I was like, it would be very funny to immediately before the paper dropped make a polymarket thing for Is Nano Tyrannus real or not? And like pump and dump it just like the US government for invading a sovereign nation.
That would be funny.
Oh,
It's actually, I did not realize that you were a
Whoa.
degenerate gambler, Jimbo. That
Well, no. I'm a generate gambler.
No.
I am not degenerate yet, right?
Degenerate is phenomenal.
it reminds me of another word I came up.
I'm just not going to ask what the word is because I don't
You
think
know
you
what
can
it
say
is.
it on Oh, yeah, I do know what it is.
on the
Anyway.
topic of video games, because this guy's been coming up recently, and I can at least mention something about it. Recently in Marvel Rivals, they added Devil Dinosaur to the game, which
did
is
they?
fun and cool. And let's see, Red-Eyed Wanderer asked, what are our thoughts on Devil Dinosaur? As a character or as in general, or as a character in Marvel Rivals? Because I do not play Marvel Rivals, but I do think that he looks very cute in the game. And I will also agree, because they did basically just make him a T-Rex with big old devil horns. Yeah, it would have been fun if they just made him a Carnotaurus. That would have been fun and interesting, even though he's always been a T-Rex in all of the media.
I think
yeah,
that design
it's
is
fun.
cute.
Dino.
Devil Dino is a character from Marvel Comics. He is, brace yourselves for a major lore dump. Devil Dinosaur is a dinosaur from Dinosaur World.
Oh,
As you would be.
Naturally.
And genuinely, as far as I understand, it was a alternate. He's a Kirby creation from back in the day, and most famously has been, or most recently has been paired up with another character, Moon Girl, who is a 9-year-old girl who is the smartest person on the planet. And she has the power that she can swap brains with Devil Dinosaur. It's very much a comic that's aimed at kids, and I don't mean that disparagingly. It is absolutely perfect for that demographic.
I mean,
a lot
all
of it
comics are aimed at kids.
Thank you, Alex. But yeah, it's a fun character. It's really neat. They have it be a fun puberty metaphor and stuff. It's neat. It's a fun one.
I feel bad. I just killed a Paleosanoa.
Oh, it has to be done.
It's Dalton's friend, and it's in
It
my
is my
data
friend.
set. I can't kill anything in my data set.
Ooh, Little Islander 100 asks, "What's up with Kai Kai Fulu?" probably directed at Amelia. Okay, yeah, there you are.
Sorry,
No, it's all good.
No, Kai is unfortunate because it's got a really good name.
Does.
It's basically a smear. Like, the material just sucks, which sucks because it is a mosasaur from Antarctica. So it has the potential to be cool. There's been some back and forth, like, you know what, I'm not even gonna say back and forth in literature. It was described as a Tylosaurine. Whatever, it's a smear. You can't really tell. And then recently, someone mentioned that maybe it's not, or someone in their analysis got it as a mosasaurine, but, like, that wasn't the point at all. But I've heard recently in, like, other circles, they're like, oh, it's a mosasaurine now. No. It's a smear. It's the reason... Okay, so in our paper, we do include in our analysis as many Tylosaurines as I could see myself, get confident photos of, get good descriptions of from the literature. Which actually, as an aside, in terms of photos, I have to make a huge thank you, which I do in our acknowledgments, but I'll acknowledge her again here. To Paulina, who is another mosasaur researcher, who sent me like tons of photos of a lot of the Tylosaurs that I didn't get to see. So she did before. I don't want to say before. She's still around. She still does research. But she wrote a lot of the papers about Tylosaurines that you might know, like a lot of the recent ones. And she's awesome. She's super nice. She's great. And she shared a bunch of pictures of... I don't think Kai flew, but she went on a research trip where she saw like all of the Antarctic stuff so Tyrannosaurus, and she was based in Canada, so she got to see a bunch of that material, which like I didn't really get to see too much there. And she had seen some other specimens in Europe as well that I hadn't seen. So it was a really, really awesome and kind of her to share her pictures, because without them, I couldn't have done that kind of analysis. Because like I haven't seen those specimens, and the papers, like most papers, are limited in like how many pages you can have and how many figures you can have. So I also want to say like the reason that our paper has so many figures and others don't is not a matter of like nobody wants to do that. I saw some people kind of talking about the paper and like, wow, this is how it should be done. And I think it's kind of a misunderstanding there. Like, we picked the bulletin specifically because there's no limit on figures or pages. And I knew that I wanted to do it this way. And because I was at the American Museum, I had access to publish in it for free. So that was a resource that I had that I knew it would be able to do exactly what I wanted to do.
You didn't only have access to publish in it for free. Like, you have access to publish in it. One author at the very least has to be affiliated with the AMNH. That's why it's not just the journal everything gets published in.
Right. So, like, and there are other journals nowadays like that. Like, I don't think PeerJ limits you. I think they charge you more, like the longer it gets. But like, there are some journals that are like that as well. Especially now, where like there aren't the limitations of print. Mm-hmm. So, like, they're digital. It doesn't matter how long the PDF is. It's not like it's going to cost $1 million to print it, because it's not getting printed. The bulletin is printed, though. Like, I'll say that. But, like, in most cases, like, that's one of the limiting factors, is that historically these journals have been printed on paper. And so the longer it is, the more expensive it was. Or, like, to have 1 million color figures would cost a lot of money.
Right. A lot of journals still do charge you for color figures in particular. Like, I kind of got a little surprised when I was publishing the Risk paper, because... like, I was given the choice of a lifetime. I was told, do you want to make it open access or not? I've heard people complain that it wasn't open access for the Nanotyrannus one too, which, first of all, email me. Email me and I will respond with a link to the paper. My email is very easy to find. It is public record. You can email me. But a lot of people were like, oh, why didn't you make it open access? Because I was given this choice, okay? They were like, do you want to be open access? If it's open access... this costs $18,000.
$18,000?
Yes, they said.
Buy an Anchiornis for that.
You could buy a couple. And then they said, and then I clicked not open access, and the price went to $0. So I was like, okay.
I think I know what to do.
Good Lord.
Now, if you have now, here's the thing: the reason that open access costs money is because the journals make money, and in days gone by, keep themselves like operational. Nowadays, that's a profit motive, and that's not necessarily great. But the way that it has worked is that I'm actually going to stop moving as the Spinosaurus because I want to explain it. The journals make money by. Sorry, go ahead.
Interrupt you briefly to thank my group mates to thank me for bringing me a carcass because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing at all.
Yeah.
It's going to die apparently. It's a quest for the group. Bring me carcass.
Bring me carcass.
Bring me, give me.
You
carcass.
bring me, give me.
Okay, sorry. Anyway,
Masonia.
The way that it works, right, is that the journals make their money through institutional subscriptions to the journal. So it's like, and I mean, this is not always, I think this is infrequently a good model for how things work, right? Think about it like the American healthcare system, where you've got outrageous cost of basic treatment. But if the model is people have health insurance that covers that for them, but the insurers pay it, you're like, okay. Now, obviously that model breaks down because not everybody's insured and different insurance, will cover different things. But you have this general idea of like, have you ever tried to buy, I hope nobody has ever done this, but a lot of people are like, you have to buy the research papers you want to see. Because if you don't have access, you'll get like a screen where it'll say, do you want to pay $75 to read this paper? Right? You can do that, but the idea is supposed to be that the institution you're a part of pays that.
Yes.
Right. Now, that's not a great system. Right. And different institutions have different access to things. Nature, Ecology, and Evolution, I'm not aware of any institution that has institutional access to. I have never...
They say, we don't need this one.
Right. Well, it's funny because a lot of good papers are in there, and I'm like, I don't know how to access this journal. I've never worked anywhere that has access.
It's funny, viewers, for... If you want a little bit of a look behind the scene of what does a group chat of a bunch of paleontologists look like, there are several days where quite a lot of it is just us asking if anybody else has access to a bunch of papers.
Yeah. And like what has also happened is that the European Union, I don't know fully what the rules are, but basically rules about scientific funding started making it much more important that you were publishing open access. I believe now the US has this was a Biden era rule. I don't know if Trump has overruled it, but if a study was NSF funded, it is supposed to be made open access. I don't know how much that rule is in place. And I don't really know what the things it covers or doesn't cover are. The argument is the taxpayers paid for the research paper to be written. The taxpayers should be given access to the research paper. I agree with that, like on a moral level. What that has caused logistically is now that journals are able to charge a lot more money for open access fees because a lot of people have to pay them. Right? You no longer, like it used to be an open access paper might be like 5,000 or 6,000, and if you have a publication budget, that wasn't always a lot more than the normal page costs of just publishing. But if you have a situation where many researchers have to choose the open access option, well, the journals are like, well, we can just make a lot more money now. That's great, right? It's like, for instance, if you have a situation where to survive and be employed, you have to go to college. All of a sudden, college starts to get a lot more expensive, right? Because it's not, do you want to go to college? It's, you are going to go to college, and you have to pay that amount of money. All of this is... What is this, Alex?
It has to be that way.
It has to be that way. There's no better system that could be developed. Anyway, all of this is to say, one of the underappreciated aspects of being an AMNH student and or research associate is the ability to publish in a journal like American Museum Bulletin and Novitatis, which are like kind of the same thing. It's the length of the paper determines which one it goes to, right? The ability to say, I can publish an open access, long form osteology with an infinite number of color figures and I don't have to pay a dime is a huge benefit, and it's one of the amazing things the AMNH is still doing. A lot of museums no longer have their in-house journals. I'm very happy the AMNH still does.
You know who else does?
Yale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Peabody.
The Peabody Bulletin. Yeah.
Yep, and I believe Harvard still has its bulletin. I mean, a lot of the best, like largest and best funded museums do. But I don't know that they all do. Now, also, I just want to say this about access to papers. Please remember, if you want to read one, the authors are allowed to distribute it to you. different journals have different rules. So for Nature, I am not allowed, this is part of the publishing agreement, that's normal. Okay, I'm not allowed to store the full text openly on my ResearchGate page and just and just give it to somebody, right? Like I can't have it that it's open on ResearchGate where you can download it, but I am allowed to send it, a PDF of the paper, to anybody who asks.
It's
Okay.
one of the more common conspiracy theories that I've heard is that all of this science is just like a money-making scheme. Look at how expensive it is to get access to papers. These scientists, it's all a racket just to get your money. No. Those costs that you pay to get access to a paper, the researchers don't get any of it. If anyone pays, God forbid, if anyone pays to read the Nanotyrannus paper, James isn't getting a kickback. It's not like a book. He's not getting royalties.
Yeah, that's why we have the YouTube channel. So,
yes.
But the thing is also, I love that I can publish an AMH bulletin or Novitatis for free. I'm not going to sit here and say there shouldn't be any... if the journal exists to publish research and the journal has to operate, having page charges associated with, we need to meet the cost of what running a journal entails is not, an evil thing inherently. It's just that in many cases now that cost has become very high because of what open access costs entail. If you read a paper that's not open access, it's not because the authors don't care about you reading it. I have seen that a little bit as a purity test almost. Of is this author a good person? Well, is their research open access? There are other factors. When I published the RISC paper, I didn't have $18,000 in grant money, and so I couldn't do that.
Ooh! Another thing. This is a misunderstanding that I imagine most people who are watching absolutely this far into the stream with us in it wouldn't fall into. But I have heard from a non-zero number of people that open access means that a paper wasn't peer-reviewed.
What?
I've heard this before.
Amelia, your
I've never
paper
heard
wasn't
that.
peer-reviewed?
Oh, no, so I was just twiddling my thumbs for 6 months.
That it's.
I can't believe you would publish this unpeer-reviewed work so that anybody can read it.
Let me put a little bit of a finer point on this. I have heard before. One time I was in a heated argument with someone, and I brought up. I referenced a paper to help my point, and they said that paper is open access. That means it wasn't peer reviewed. That means that anyone can publish open access. That means that the journal doesn't look at it. It's just someone who posted that. And I was about ready to rip my hair out.
That's amazing.
That's actually I that's one of my favorite new misconceptions. I love that. I'm going to start saying that about any paper I don't like.
It was absolutely infuriating. It was driving me up the damn wall. Oh god. I'm getting heated again just thinking about that argument.
Oh, that's wild. And I also want to say here,
Did you
I'm
win?
not criticizing any journals for their open access charges. I think a lot of this stuff, while the money making aspect of academic publishing is not great, I don't know, a lot of this is the ecosystem that everything is in, and a lot of it's interconnected in complicated ways. This is just descriptive. This is just what the reality currently is right now, and it means that dictates a lot of what does or doesn't happen. Yeah, they're conflating open access with preprints, which are open access because they're not in a journal.
It wasn't even they were conflating open access with preprints. You're giving too much thought to this. It was they think that the term open access means that it is open for anyone to publish anything. Basically, they're thinking it's a blog or a commentary or a published comment or something. That's what it was. This person was not a scientist.
Well, actually, the blog is the highest form of paleontological research.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought I had done a phylogenetic, a good phylogenetic analysis once, but it turns out I hadn't, but someone had on a blog. That's why it was on a blog.
Are you talking about the person I think you're talking about? I assume you are.
There are actually, it fits a few.
Kirsten, yes, they were just wrong.
I have no idea what everyone else is doing in Path of Titans right now, but I have just been a little Ramphorhynchus. Basically all I've been doing is flying up as far as I can, and then doing the dive bomb, like the Ikron in Avatar, and it's pretty fun.
It is.
I've just been swimming around. I'm trying to find some objectives and stuff like that. Yeah.
I've killed a few fish.
I've been getting quests from the ominous floating like crocodiles. I've been doing the quests.
Did it like bring me eyeballs and stuff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm being menaced by a crocodile.
Let's see. Ooh.
Persian King
Big
44. I
Pig.
blame Amelia for this lack of free open access nonsense. That's wonderful. Why can't I enter home cave while I'm in combat? That's the only time I would want to enter home cave.
Because it's not
No, you don't understand. I'm trying to run away.
So I want to say I briefly did see a question that I want to address. Someone was talking about they're asking if Tylosaurus Rex would have lips because I had mentioned it having interlocking teeth. So the teeth are not interlocking in like a crocodile way. They're interlocking in an orca kind of way. Like they would have been fully covered. You wouldn't see them. They're pretty cool for lizard teeth, like to kind of like sidetrack onto that. Like they have sockets, which is not typical for lizards at all.
No.
They do interlock perfectly. So like when you see the skulls and their teeth are like that is natural. That's how they fit together. I think it's a contributing reason to why the variation in tooth count is so low. There is variation, but I feel like why am I saying that? I collected the data. There's a lot less than people said there had. I can say it now because all my data, all my tooth counts are in there too. So all my measurements, all my tooth counts, everything. Tylosaurus has 13
I know this.
teeth in the maxilla, in the dentary, whatever. It's consistent. There's a plus or minus of 1, which is barely variation. And like ProRigger specifically, it's 13. That's how many teeth they have in each of those bones. Like it really, really, really in the sample I see, like it doesn't vary. I don't know 100% why. I think, like I said, it's in part because they interlock. So there's a precise like way they have back together. So if you're constantly like if you're tacking on teeth, like it's not going to be as precise. Well, the way they grow is also different. So unlike other lizards, I looked at this at the AMH, like an iguana, for example. Typically, how a lizard tooth attaches to the jawbone is that it's either like stuck to the side of the bone or it sits on top. They don't have sockets. So when iguanas, what I noticed when they grow up, instead of getting larger teeth, they just tack on more and more and more and more and more. Their teeth stay relatively the same size. They just tack on more of them as they get larger, as the bones get larger. Versus something like a varanus, like a monitor lizard, which are macropredatory, a little bit more analogous to a mosasaur. But as they're getting bigger, they're preying on bigger things. Versus like an iguana is eating plants. So whatever, it doesn't matter. The plants aren't getting any bigger, like that it's preying on, whatever, right? But like monitor lizards, as they get larger, they prey on larger animals. They need larger teeth to process those, and so the teeth grow with them. And they have much less variation in the number of teeth that are present in the jaw. And when they do, they get more. So actually, let's roll all the way back and mention Nanotyrannus, I suppose.
I'm sorry.
It's
that must
fine.
happen.
I can't escape it. That's my freaking curse. But like with Nanotyrannus and T-Rex, it was proposed that they lose teeth as they grow up. That is just never a pattern that I saw in lizards. Because like either the teeth are growing with the animal, or they're tacking on more as they get larger. The teeth don't shrink and they don't lose them.
In fact, nothing loses them.
Right. So well, stay tuned or read
Unless
the
they're
preprint.
Yeah.
But anyway, so with mosasaurs, it seems very, very, very much like the teeth are getting larger with the animal, and so the number stays consistent. And then I also wonder, I don't know this, I wonder how much sockets have to do with it. Because if you have a socket, that's a much more complicated developmental thing than just glomming a tooth onto the side of the bone. And I just wonder if that's just more hardwired, that you can't tinker with that.
Read the preprint. That's exactly what it is. It's,
Right. Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
it's that
I read it years ago. I've known
know.
about it for years.
I know, no. But there's things I learned after I wrote my thesis that are kind of buried in there. I don't know this for sure, but I think it's what's going on is that you're establishing your tooth positions embryologically, like where the sockets form is established before there are jawbones and before there are teeth. And you're partitioning out your dental lamina, the source of ultimate stem cells, into discrete bundles that become your tooth sockets. And so I do think
of ultimate stem cells.
right. I think it is quite literally forming the sockets. It's what establishes the number of teeth very early on.
Yeah.
And there's actually, it was funny because nobody had I think just nobody had put this together because nobody was reading this paper for this exact thing, but there's a paper on alligator tooth development where they mention that sometimes you get one fewer or more additional position in these embryos. And they thought one of them might get lost or something later on. I think what it is that they were like, it doesn't match the adult tooth count of 15, which is what they said was the true tooth count. I think it's that's actually when the variation establishes.
Also, yes, Kirsten, you are seen. I wasn't reading chat. Sorry.
Yeah, you are indeed seen.
How can we tell if an animal is a person or a computer?
A good question. Well, and
How can
Jimbo,
we tell if an animal's a person?
I've been trying to track down something to cite for part of my fourth chapter discussion, and I really haven't been able to. But like, it's a little cool and interesting that like teeth have literally never re-evolved in any group that's ever lost them.
It sure
as far
is.
as like amnios go, it's like I'm like, well, this is like that means like there's a development, like there's some crazy early developmental constraint on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet that is like birds like keep getting pseudo teeth in their beaks and they get all the weird like soft tissue things. They just never get teeth again.
They never get teeth. No.
And like turtles do all sorts of like weird keratin ridges on their beaks and stuff. But yeah, it's just like you are not allowed. I'm not allowed to make more teeth.
Not allowed to have the teeth.
Not allowed.
Kirsten, what animal are you? The enormous Dinocyrus I see lurking around me all the time.
Also, Bear9005 asked, congrats on the paper. I had a question. Do you have any tips for getting into mosasaur research? I'm currently a sophomore at uni, and I am really interested in studying mosasaurs.
I mean, it depends on what you're interested in specifically. If you're interested in it's more broadly, like I would start with more broadly focusing on getting into paleontology first. But even then, I guess you don't really have to, because then that's hypocritical of me to say, because that wasn't my first path either. So my own path was I was a biology major in college. That's what paleo was nested under at the college that I went to. It's not always. Sometimes it's under geo. But you don't even, I mean, the secret here is you don't really even have to do it as an undergrad. But start thinking about like the kinds of questions you're interested in. If you're interested more in like the environments and the geology side of things, or if you're more interested in the anatomy and the evolution and the biology side of things, and kind of start to specialize based on that. For mosasaurs specifically, I mean, you can start by just reading some of the more classical literature on them. So I mentioned at some point, I think many hours ago at this point, Dale Russell wrote a book called The Systematics and Morphology of North American Mosasaurs that's basically a really good introduction to their anatomy and their diversity. Oceans of Kansas is a book that was written by Mike Everhart. That's a more broad overview on like the history of the seaway and like all the different kinds of animals that are found there, but it's like a really good introduction to that.
Also a delightfully old-fashioned website.
Yes, the website rules. It's a little crazy and hard to navigate, but it's really fun. But yeah, just like, and then from there, just starting to like, just poke around on Google Scholar and try to find like topics about them that interest you. In terms of like other things to learn, like general lizard anatomy is really helpful. So there's a lot of like fundamental lizard anatomy type books. Those are really important to just get a sense of like the soft tissues involved, because not a lot of mosasaur papers talk about that side of it, and it's really important because that's what influences the skeleton. One of these ichthyosaurs that's chaperoning me looks dead. I don't know what's going on there. It's just his tail is bent at like the wrong angle. He's floating, but whatever. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, and I mean from there, like, they're hard to work on because there's not many people advising students to work on. There's like, I don't know, 3 or 4. There's a couple like more broadly marine reptile people, but in terms of mosasaur specialists, there's not very many. So it's a little bit difficult, and I wouldn't like focus too much on, oh, now they both look dead. Okay, that must be something they can do. Okay, anyway. But yeah, focusing more specifically on the questions and the anatomy more broadly, lizards more broadly, would be a good starting point.
This is what I was going to say, but I'll let you finish, Amelia.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, and then just being realistic about where there are mosasaur fossils. I don't know where you live, but like, in the United States, they're primarily concentrated in the Great Plains, so in South Dakota, Kansas, Nebraska. There are some in Texas, but there's not really... The students in that program at SMU are more geology heavy, at least from what I understand. I'm not super sure.
They did mention that they were at uni, so that indicates UK.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so yeah, in Europe it's easier, but you'd probably want to wind up in the Netherlands or Belgium. Sorry, there was a strange noise from this house.
Where is everyone?
I'm being attacked by a large carnosaur of some sort that I have a feeling is Kirsten.
We, a lot of us seem to be in this big kind of western, like, lake sort of thing, over north of Big Tree Overlook and northeast of Cedrus Forest.
Northeast of Cedrus?
Yeah.
Yes, where the Cedrus lives.
Okay, I'm coming over there.
We did have an important question of who would win in a fight, T-Rex or T-Rex.
Are we on land or in the water?
Well, yeah,
The answer is
basically.
T-Rex.
Right.
I think one of my favorite bits of the swimming T-Rex scene from Prehistoric Planet was the narrator being David Attenborough. You may have heard of him, saying like,
Happy 100th.
"Yeah, happy 100th."
Yes.
That the T-Rex could actually defend himself in the water because if it did bite the mosasaur, it would have probably hurt it. But like, I don't think it was going to be able to. This is like I think a theoretical, like, yes, if it bites the mosasaur, it will probably
hard.
Right. If it that will not be good for the mosasaur. I think it's unlikely. I think in the water, Tylosaurus Rex wins. However, T-Rex won by default because it lived after all the Tylosaurus Rexes had already died.
In the water, chimps will drown.
Did you do any for your like friends studying chimpanzees in the Congo? Did you do any simulated, like, this person's face and testicles have been gnawed off by a male chimpanzee?
Okay, so you joke about that.
I do joke about
no.
that, but only because I'm afraid.
So one of the scenarios, because again, we were trying to do things that were plausible for the different places where we would be, and honestly, again, like, stellar job. This is the first aid that I've done where I've kind of felt at the end of it that it was like, oh man, like, they actually tried to do as good of a job of like, okay, this is going to be as complex and weird and interesting as like a real first aid case. So our Congo situation, our jungle situation, if you will, was that the people who were playing as the rescuers came upon these 2 people who were injured, and the way that they were injured was that they had been attacked by they had been chased by a water buffalo. It wasn't chimps, but they had been chased by a water buffalo and run up a tree to escape it, and they were up there for hours, got very tired, very thirsty, and they couldn't see the water buffalo anymore, so they dropped down, and because they were tired and uncoordinated, they landed poorly, and one broke their arm, one broke their leg. And because it was hot and humid in the jungle, we had to basically the people had to treat them, go over how to treat them for, like heat stroke and heat exhaustion when you are in a humid environment and sweat isn't really working, and obviously like splinting arms and legs and all that stuff, and also leaving one person as a lookout to see if the buffalo's coming back. And then the fun little twist that he threw in there was when someone had to call in emergency services, he chose one of the folks to ask. He had one of the folks play as the emergency services operator and be like, "Okay, very cool. This is the Congo. The emergency services operator speaks French. Can you coordinate where you are going when they are only speaking French to you?" It was fun. It was a really good one. And yeah, one of the folks there did speak fluent French, so that was fun to have just randomly happen in the middle of the scenario.
Right, the guy was like, "Actually, I am okay."
Yeah. Yeah. So no chimps or bonobos, but we got close.
I thought when you said, "Oh, these guys are planning a trip to the Congo," you were gonna say that, well, actually, they're not anymore because of Ebola.
No, they still are.
Oh boy.
Or is the chimpanzee civil war over yet? That was like a thing for a while, right?
That was Uganda, I believe.
Oh damn!
But I mean,
how'd that shake out?
Who won?
I think a chimpanzee
I think
did.
the chimps.
Whoever wins, we lose.
No, but like my ex
That's very
used to
good.
like occasionally, like her field work was in Africa, and like they would go during Ebola outbreaks as long as it wasn't very local, because like when it was a minor, you know what I mean? It's hard for once it's bad, but it's hard for it to become like, oh, it's not like COVID where it's just like it's going to spread like wildfire, right?
Yeah.
They would still go, and it would freak me out.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of them chill Ebola outbreaks.
Yes, that was an AVP reference. Which is funny because the stakes in that movie is like, if the Predator wins,
They leave.
they leave, and if the alien wins, it's stuck in Antarctica and it can't go anywhere. God, what a stupid movie. I really don't like those movies.
What a hot take from you, Alex. The AVP movies are bad.
I know some people like them.
It's not realized. Where can I take this trip? Where's my home? Here.
Ooh, I had some tasty fish.
If anybody who's playing with this here, I'd like some rocks for my nest, and I forgot where to find them.
The ground.
Thank you, Dalton.
That's what I'm here for.
Rocks can often be found on the ground.
Swamp Ape, you're correct.
I don't
Yeah,
think so
of course
either.
not. It's a corporate crossover that was like started as a comic book in a certain period of we'll say heavy use of creative substances that produced like
It was the spice cream.
the spice melange that produced a generation of like some of the worst media that Gen Xers will be like, no, it's really good actually.
I mean,
And then
like,
you have to entertain them.
I think I'd go out on a limb and say, like, I don't think that there's really almost any way to do any good. If the movie has a versus in it, it is almost always going to be bad.
Kramer versus Kramer.
The one exception that
Unfortunately-
I was going to make. Damn it. You beat me to my own joke.
I will immediately paint myself as a hypocrite because I love Freddy vs. Jason. Have you seen it?
I have not.
I've
No.
never seen it, no.
No.
It is it is basically an R-rated Looney Tunes film where they are doing no I'm 100% serious, where they're like doing Looney Tunes-esque murders and then they're like putting banana peels functionally under the other one's feet. Like Freddy's like, oh, I like finger like looks to camera like Bugs Bunny. He's like, oh, get a load of this guy. It's very dumb, but it's like one of the only ones of those that I've been like, this is great. Everyone understood exactly what this was supposed to be.
I don't know. What about Cowboys versus Aliens?
Can I ask a question?
No.
About a question? Why
About
I do have to know though, could Jimbo explain the concept of nanotyrannus validity to Arthur Morgan? What prompted that question? I don't understand. I think I don't know. Did he know
Dinosaurs? They're big lizards.
yeah, I mean, he did know about dinosaurs. He had the side quest with the very flattering portrayal of a woman in paleontology, who's doing, the awful chimera, the Tylosaurus. Okay, you've just been playing a lot of Red Dead. I was like, did this come up in conversation?
No, and
With Arthur Morgan?
Yeah, I think I could explain it to him. You'd be
Arthur
like, do you know
Morgan.
how some people don't know a lot? Maybe.
Well,
yeah.
he's a Red Dead protagonist, and to extrapolate further, what's that game studio? Why can't I remember?
Rockstar?
Thank you, Rockstar. He's a Rockstar protagonist, so he can't care or have really any strong feelings about anything for the first 60% of the game until something bad happens to him. Where he's like, it was wrong for me to do all those crimes. And then you immediately go back to like exploding people's heads like tomatoes for the next 12 hours.
Alex, have you played Red Dead 2?
Yes. That's the plot.
You do just start killing the right people, though.
Yeah, it's awesome. I like the game, but it is at around the halfway point. A bad thing happens to you, and then you have to go, maybe it was wrong for me to do all those crimes. And then you try to do a not crime.
I would at least push back on it is definitely from much earlier on that he's not really a fan of what he's doing.
When does the it's not Cuba part happen?
That's toward the end, but I think
3/4 of the way through.
And when do you the guy up?
Early on.
Is it really early on?
It's very early in the game.
It's very early on. Yeah.
But I mean, it's called Redemption. That has to be the plot of the game.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But I'd say, at least from just a couple hours into playing it, like, especially if you get any of the, like, camp dialogue, it really is just kind of like, as early as Chapter 2, he's really like, I'm unhappy and not proud of the things that I'm doing, and I think I'm a bad person who's going to hell.
Where are you? Sure. No, I mean, I'm not ripping on the game story, but there is a almost comedic disconnect between gameplay and like the themes of that. It's all the Rockstar game.
Yeah, I mean,
narrative dissonance. You said the thing.
I think there's it's a structural Rockstar problem, because in between missions you can be like, I'm gonna fly this plane straight into the side of a mountain, and it's gonna be cool.
I mean, it's a frequent video game problem, just in general.
Yeah.
Right, but there's everyone's like it's like, and it is. It's like it's a classic story. It's like it's very serious. It's like you have to take it seriously. And there are games where it's like like that, and you do take it seriously, and the gameplay reflects the changes in the story, but are often less fun because it's fun to get one of those shotguns in the games that like blows people in half.
Oh, you mean like
and you wrangle an alligator, and you.
You mean like the Dishonored games where it's like the objectively most fun and most interesting way to play the game is the way that it's telling you not to play it.
Yes. Yeah, basically exactly like that.
I will say, when I played Red Dead, every time I've played it, I can't do a psychopathic playthrough as Arthur. I just can't do it.
It's so mechanically like even like beside like if you know anything about the character, and also like the game itself very much just disincentivizes you to do so. Like there are so many benefits from doing the high honor stuff. Like every little increment, it's like cheaper prices in shops, and like cops are on you a little less, like they get called on you less, and all that sort of stuff. And then like low honor, it's what is it, you get a different hat, and it's like it's like there's a very much
don't even mean
intended
like
way to play.
I don't even mean like murdering random civilians. I mean just like in the course of the story missions.
Oh yeah.
You kill like 400 people.
Oh yeah.
No, I think 100%. It is
100%.
literally thousands in some playthroughs. This was I
like
read
more
the...
people that like ever died in like gunfights in the Old West are killed in the first 2 hours of that game.
It's like when, like, I remember a while back, like relatively recently, I watched Tombstone with a couple friends, and we were talking about it. It was like, oh my god, this is the gunfight at the OK Corral. Like, this is like the Wild West shootout. And we got talking about it, and it was like, wait, how many people died during that? And it was like, what? Like 4? Like,
yeah.
It's like, I guess if you're in town, that's a lot of people. Have you seen Deadwood, Scott?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good.
Thanks for the tip, whoever told me to stop drinking salt water.
Let's see.
He's got the sea madness.
I also think the gunfight at the OK Corral lasted for like a minute and 24 seconds or something. Like, it was not a long affair.
I was correct. 3 people were injured, 3 people were killed.
This is how I feel. Like, I was a big Civil War history nerd in, like, middle school. Like,
we could tell.
Thank you. When I was in 7th grade, my history teacher showed us, like, he just did a week where we watched the movie Gettysburg, and I was like, holy shit, this is the coolest thing ever.
Oh, it's a good movie.
It's a movie. I am watching it this year. I'm doing all of Gettysburg on July 3rd to celebrate us kicking the teeth of the South.
Oh,
but
way down south in the land of traitors.
Rattlesnakes and alligators, my friend. But anyway, what I was going to say is that I have recently gotten more into learning about the American Revolution. I just think it's kind of interesting how poorly so much of it is taught. And I'm not talking about the obvious things that are poorly taught. Like, just like what even happened. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, setting aside founding myths that are, like, replete in the school system. Like, literal just factual bases of, like, what events transpired. Very incomplete knowledge. But the size of, like, the battles and the death tolls when you are when you're coming at it from a Civil War perspective, where it's like Gettysburg. The total number of casualties exceeds the number killed in Vietnam in the entire time we were there. Not killed, but like 50,000 dead or wounded at Gettysburg compared to 50,000 dead in Vietnam.
Oh, friggin' Antietam? Don't get me started.
And then in like big battles in the Civil War, it'll be like 56 Redcoats were killed and 45 Patriots. And I'm like, fewer, like 100 guys, and they're like, this was one of the largest battles of the conflict.
I gotta stop you for a quick second, James. It is the funniest thing I've seen in a minute of unnamed 9858 in chat just being, James, dear God, please stop breaking your legs.
Listen, the Spinosaurus is okay.
Are you like jumping down high thing? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's a faster way to
James,
get down.
Can I interest you in? Do you care about European history?
Yes.
Okay. You should get into the 30 Years' War.
Oh, I should get into the 30 Years' War.
It's,
very exciting.
There's some cool stuff in there. I mean, I guess I wouldn't describe it as cool. There's some stuff that happens, and you're just like, golly, that's not good.
It was a bad time to be a European.
Yeah, I mean, it was apparently, everyone thought it was literally the end of the world for a little while.
They did. I know a little bit about the 30 Years' War. I've never fully engaged with the history, but I would like to.
I listen. I'm going to. So I know. I listen to a podcast. Embarrassing.
Oh my God. No.
that like kind of the thesis of the podcast was like, while not an exact parallel, it's actually like probably one of the best ways to understand like the actual dangers facing like people in the modern day, like what like the things that precipitated the 30 Years' War is like, it's like all these things and you hear it and you're like, huh, that's interesting. Like there a pretty big famine caused by global a climate crisis, the little
Ice Age.
a bit of cooling, yeah, like and like all these little like
I'm being
major
killed by a
changes in how people
Tylosaurus.
communicate
I
and
have
work.
been
It's
killed
good
by a
stuff. I'd recommend it. It's
Tylosaurus.
called Hell on Earth.
Right. The podcast is called Hell on Earth, or the book?
Yeah, the podcast.
I said the book as if there was a book because I kind of zoned
As
out.
if I
I'm
mentioned
sorry.
a book.
When white men start talking about historical wars, I stop paying close attention.
All right, easy there, Dalton.
No, I know that was a cheap shot.
It was a very cheap shot.
That's especially cheap coming from Dalton when I know someone whose knowledge of fictional wars is better than my knowledge of real wars.
Yes, because I find them more interesting.
And the fictional war here is the Star Wars.
Is the one in the Star, of course.
Which also I really can't give you any guff about.
No. In fact, you're probably the only person on Earth who couldn't.
Yeah, goddamn, that's embarrassing.
I will not be giving guff, but let it be known that I could if I wanted to.
No guff will be given.
We can all be giving guff.
No,
Are people asking science questions that we're
You
ignoring?
can guff if you want.
No, they're not.
You can leave
Honestly,
your friends behind.
I need to learn more about world history because it's one of the things I know that I am embarrassingly ignorant about.
It's because we're in the world.
Well, I find it interesting to try to understand how the world came to be. It's my frequent frustration with like engaging with like I don't know like politics in like any form at this point, because I'm like I do think that there's a value in knowing why did it go this way, because I think that's how you know how it doesn't go that way. You know what I mean? Like you have to understand the path that was taken to understand how to stop that from happening again. But also, like, how do you backtrack up that slope? I always think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
But it does help that I find it, like, intrinsically interesting. Like, 12-year-old me really liking watching a movie about the Civil War, I think has definitely led to 30-year-old me wanting to understand world history.
Ooh.
What I find myself as I get older thinking more and more is basically I look at a road and I'm like, why did this get built here? When did this get built? I see all the roads and I'm like, we had to put the asphalt down at some point. What happened when it was being constructed? Where did the people who needed to come here go?
Isn't one of the
What is this from? What is this from?
This is nothing. This is from my brain.
Dalton.
Oh,
I think.
I thought this was a
Nothing you-
reference to a tweet. I'm sorry. I was like, this sounds like the setup to a famous viral tweet or something that I didn't see. I
No,
apologize.
I don't think you've
Dalton.
ever said anything that has aged you more in my eyes than that.
No, that's fair. It's a very old man thing to think.
I understand. Like this is not. It's just like that's an old. I understand, and also someone in chat. That's very kind of you. That but it is embarrassing to listen to podcasts. I should be reading more books. This kind of constant self-hatred is very important.
And I mean, but it's also while that might be the biggest thing that ages Dalton, the biggest thing that ages Alex is I've never seen anyone under 50 have as much difficulty with technology than this man.
This is true.
Is that true?
Yeah.
This is true. Yes.
Alex, of course it's true.
I'm worried you're prescribing laziness. You're
It's not laziness.
No.
like,
No.
what's an example?
Alex, you
Help
had
me
to
out.
like delete your computer's audio driver.
Oh right, yeah, that was funny.
And also
Alex,
like
I've seen you use some products.
and like I've heard about how you use Illustrator and stuff.
That's
like
what I was thinking.
good lord. Like Alex, it's from the sound of it, you're one step above whiteout on the computer screen. Like, come on,
Wait.
man.
Wait, how I use Illustrator?
I don't want to put Alex on blast right now.
But I'm curious.
We'll tell you when you're older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna see if somebody wants to be my baby. Does
What?
anybody want to be my
Interesting.
baby?
Jesus Christ.
In the game!
In the game. Wait.
Wait.
We did have a question, and I'm trying to scroll through the chat to find
Swamp Ape said it first. Swamp Ape's gonna be my kid.
Oh, concerning.
For someone with a biology degree but no undergrad paleo, it would be the best way forward. Try to connect to a lab, treat it like master's work, or do you need something else first? I think if you've got a bio undergrad, then it is, I think, honestly, yeah, like just reach out to people who you're interested in potentially working with, start having conversations, figure out what you're most interested in and what you want to pursue, and that's a good way of figuring out then who you want to talk to.
Yeah. Can I see was the question in chat here? I missed this one.
It's a bit up. It's from Little Islander 100.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're trying to get into it in a research capacity, like, experience is going to always kind of be the most important thing. So you're going to want to do something that can get you some experience in the field. I would say trying to apply to master's programs in paleo, or, like, you know, internships you could apply for that get posted, things like that. Like, internships, I don't know if they'll exist now, but, like, national parks internships, state parks internships. There's all these sorts of things you can do in summers, if that's a possibility for you, that I always think are pretty, you know, I've heard a lot of good things. Or just volunteering at a museum, right? Like, I mean, Dalton, you got your start through, were they structured internships, or were they, like, just volunteer things at the Denver Museum?
So it was a structured internship at the Denver Museum that I did.
Okay.
I did that in high school, but they've also got, I think, college internships.
I host interns all the time.
Right.
James,
I
you've
had
abandoned your child?
internships. I had internships
Yeah.
with the National
Okay.
Park Service in college.
James, pause. You abandoned Swamp Ape.
Wait,
Your
I didn't know,
child.
why is he still at my nest? I thought he was
Because he's
hatch.
a baby.
He's a baby.
Oh my god, I abandoned my boy!
I'm abandoned my child.
It's just a baby.
What a good time to discuss how evil I am.
Baby.
Um,
All right, time to eat this fish.
Swamp Ape, I'm coming, don't worry.
There's also a question that
Typical,
was
you
direct-
say, Kirsten. Typical. I will have you know I
directed
pay
at
my
Scott.
child support.
But I'm going to answer it first because I can also answer it, which is asking thoughts on Project Hail Mary, and I loved it.
Oh God, me too. I
haven't
had
seen
such
it
a good time with it. I really hope that they do end up releasing a slightly longer cut. I think 4 hours is
I'll bring you food,
ridiculous,
Swamp
and I don't think that we should see that one.
No,
But,
that's
like,
good. That's good.
I do have to say I do miss a lot of the truncated, like a lot of the stuff that happened on Earth, of exactly how bad it got, and I really did appreciate that in the book, when it was like, we're nuking Antarctica to accelerate global warming so we can hopefully survive. We are destroying the entire ecosystem of the Sahara Desert to turn it into solar farms. Like, that stuff, like, I really thought helped drive just exactly how dire the situation was, and also really deepened the character of Strat, sorry.
The first Strat type game.
Yes. Wow, that was a deep,
Sorry, that
deep
was really
one.
stupid.
That was a really deep reference, Dalton.
It's on
I like
streaming,
that. That was a
right?
good one. Yeah, we're
It
still
is now on streaming.
No,
Project Hail
Hail Mary. I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's available to buy digitally. I don't know if it's fully like
Okay.
streaming service.
But, like, you can watch it. Because I haven't seen it yet, actually.
it's very good.
I mean, I wouldn't mind paying like $10 if it's like like a rental thing or something.
Yeah.
You know,
It's-
I had meant to go see it. It was just a very busy travel and everything time for me, and I didn't make it before it was out of theaters.
It's incredibly well done. It's very well acted. It's beautifully shot. I also I really like how they ended up characterizing, I guess, spoilers, but you've seen, if you you've seen the trailer. I really like how they end up characterizing Rocky.
Yeah.
I did hear that a little behind the scenes thing that I would have absolutely loved, but I completely get why they didn't do it. It was apparently originally intended to have Rocky's voice be the narrator of the audiobook. Which I would have loved, given that I read the audiobook and the audiobook is very special to me. But they ended up going with the man who was puppeteering him because he was on set and they needed to have his like the way that he improved and played off of Ryan Gosling was they liked him so much they were just like, you gotta be the voice. But yeah, very, 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 very good movie. I want to watch it again.
Look at me with my son here. Look, I'm taking care of him. I'm feeding him. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do with him, actually.
What else do you do with the sun? You feed them?
Occasionally devour them.
Is there a ball game?
I was about to say, play baseball. I do also really want to see if there's any possibility before I head to a land down under, if I can go see Obsession. I really want to see that before it gets out of theaters.
There's a lot of stuff I want to see right now.
I have heard mixed things about Obsession.
Really? I've heard
basically
nothing
only
but
heard
great
good
things. Yeah.
I want to see Obsession. I would like to see. There's another like horror movie that came out.
Hokum?
Like, yes, Hokum.
Oh,
really
I
want to see
do.
that.
Hokum
I
was good.
really want to see Hokum.
Strongly recommend Hokum.
They grow up so
It
fast.
attacked me. What attacked?
And
Yeah,
yes, I do
backwards.
believe that the audiobook narrator does make a
Follow me.
cameo when they're
Follow
going
me,
through
son.
the voices. Oh, I've heard Backrooms is phenomenal.
Yeah, I've heard good
It's-
things too.
That actually
It is.
upsets
It
me
is my
tremendously.
most excited. It's the movie I'm most excited for this May. It looks like. I don't. Here's perhaps my.
I mean, I am
outing
excited to
myself.
see the new Star Wars movie, but
Sure.
Didn't it come out already? Did it not? I don't know.
it came out.
It's-
It's premiering right now.
Ah.
I want to see it, and I'm expecting I will enjoy it, but I'm not expecting that it's going to surprise or like deeply engage me.
It will not.
Oh
break
my
new
God.
ground.
My son! He's been taken by a Tylosaurus Rex.
But I expect that I will like it because I like
Let's get out of the water, son.
most of the things in that oeuvre.
No, I mean, like, I've seen some of the original Backrooms little videos. I've never played the games. I found out. I basically, like, kind of was into it, and then someone's like, "Oh, there's a wiki," and there's like, and then I like read that a little bit, and like, this is dumb, and then I stopped paying attention to it, and then I saw another one of the videos that I thought was really cool, and then I saw that they were making this movie, and I said, "That's cool. It's like a liminal space." And then they showed the trailer, and they're like, and it seems that they're literally just doing the middle portion of House of Leaves, but in the back rooms. And I said, "That's awesome." Day one, House of Leaves movie. Let's go.
You gotta
I
turn
also
the movie
am-
upside down.
Jesus. I'm very excited that I had like right before the trailer dropped, I was just like, man, I miss seeing Chiwetel edgy of foreign things. It's been a minute.
Yes.
What's he been up to? Is he okay? And then the trailer dropped, and I was like, oh shit, there he is.
He's been in the back rooms, Scott. That's why you hadn't seen him.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of horror things, I saw the trailer for the new Resident Evil movie. And
Oh, that also looks really good.
It looks great.
Can't believe that someone is going to make a good Resident Evil movie after God knows how long.
It's the same guy who did Weapons, right?
Yes,
Uh,
it is.
his name is Zach Krieger. He also did Barbarians and The Whitest Kids You Know.
Barbarian singular.
I didn't
Barbar-
know he was in Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh, yeah,
Oh wait,
he's
yes,
one of
I
the
did
found-
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
one
did
of the-
know that. Yes. God, because it's the bit in Weapons where that one character serves like 8 hot dogs to his husband.
Yes.
is a reference to one of their skits.
Such a good little
How
moment.
many hot dogs would you say you're having a day? Oh, Trevor Moore, taken too soon.
Seriously.
Where's my son? I think he's gone.
No.
I'm just flying above a river in between some trees, and it's very relaxing.
I can't find my son. Oh no! Oh my god!
What?
Well, I found my son. He was in the mouth of a Sarcosuchus.
I was about to
No,
ask, is he in the mouth of something?
Oh no.
Does he
I think-
live?
Yeah, how is he?
He lives.
People are also asking if Amelia's noticed the stream description yet.
Yes.
Is it cheeky?
Yeah.
It is indeed cheeky.
I
Well,
feel like
Go on.
I've been swimming around and like I've
Got
been
it.
purposefully limiting myself to this like big tree overlook area. And I think I've discovered what it might be like to be an aquarium fish. And having like a fairly enriching environment, but it is nevertheless limited. But I'm content with it. And you know what? It makes me feel better about aquaria. Not that I felt bad about them, but
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have to add you to the group? Is that how I can know where my son is? I see.
but
Let
I
me
think
see if
Scott
I can do
was trying to get to a. I think we're gonna call it
Yes.
momentarily
Indeed.
because it is getting late and it's a school night. So
It
to
is
speak.
indeed a school night.
Now, that does make sense. However, I do need to deliver the trophy that I took from the Sarcosuchus that nearly killed Swampy.
I gotta make sure that I get enough sleep for my ortho appointment tomorrow.
Your
Ooh,
ortho apartment? Oh,
those are no
orthopedics.
fun.
No, I thought I was like,
Orthopedics.
you getting your teeth fixed?
No,
He
not
has a
when I
nice
don't.
braces.
smile.
You know, that's why I was surprised he was going to an orthodontist.
No. I'm getting my knee fixed up, or at least looked at.
They're gonna take one look at it, Scott, and they're gonna be like, they're gonna show you the movie at the end of Soil and Grain. Would you like any music, sir?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Where the hell do I deliver the trophy?
But
V-
as
v-
we
I don't
very-
understand this game.
Sorry. Go on.
take it to your home cave,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Scott. You were going to say.
That comment did remind me. I had been thinking ever since I got my MRI. It was like, how is it that those headphones that they give you for an MRI don't have any metal in them? How do they work? What do they do?
They're actually
These are mysteries.
they're anti-magnetic.
Ah,
They just go the other way, so it's fine.
okay.
That's actually a good point. I don't know.
They're full of wood.
It's a. Oh, I was going to say it's a string in a tin can, but tin can is indeed metal. But
It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
shut up.
I'm gonna address the comment / question about what my reply is to people criticizing / complaining the another T-Rex thing. Go outside. It's not the first and it won't be the last.
It's not the first. It's not the second. It's not even the third.
I don't
It is
think it's
at
even
le-
the fourth. Like
it's at least the fourth.
it's at least because like the AMNH wrote like a blog post, press release, whatever about it. And I knew about the beetle, and I was pretty sure there was something else. But they listed off like a bunch of stuff that I had never heard of. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's an ant.
There's an ant. There's some kind of mammal. I don't remember what it was, but there was a mammal.
The beetle is genuinely the only one that actually kind of pisses me off because its name is Tyrannosaurus spelled wrong, Rex.
Well, right. That's ridiculous. But like,
I can respect that level of.
It
it's also
really
kind of funny.
it is funny. It does kind of almost give me the same energy as like it's the transmorphers of a species name.
I think there is a passerine bird that is also like tyrant something.
There is a tyrant. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of tyrant
Little bird.
flycatchers.
And Rex
Yeah,
is like Rex
Tyrannus.
has to be such a common last name, Jesus, species name, right? Like, don't laugh at me. I'm tired.
And there's a lot of Rexes. Like,
Yeah.
oh, final
What is it,
question. There we go.
Tanistrophius?
Final question. We know that plesiosaurs couldn't pull themselves up on the land, but is it possible that mosasaurs could beach themselves during hunts like some orcas do when hunting seals? And that's also in the newest, that's in the dinosaurs, that a Tylosaurus does that.
Oh yeah.
Kirsten probably has a more informed answer to this than I do, but probably not. Their legs are made of rubber. Like, they don't ossify anything. They're so heavy. Like, and they're not as smart as an orca, so I don't think they would be able to do the calculation correctly, and I think they would just beach themselves.
They just think the world ends at the shallows. They're like, there's nothing more.
Yeah.
There's no concept of
For their own
a
safety.
shore.
Yeah. No, it's probably not, but I don't know. It's behavioral. It's hard to say, but like the way their limbs are built, yeah. Like Kirsten said, their legs aren't firmly attached to their spine. Like their rear legs in particular, made of freaking rubber. They don't ossify most of their wrist bones and their ankle bones. If you look at the figure of Bunker, actually, it's Bunker's foot that gets figured, because it's got the best one of the bunch. They have a single ankle bone, and it's the astragalus, and it looks like a quarter. Like, it's really stupid. They can't. And then their hips, the three bones that make up the hip, not tightly articulated to one another. They are in some groups of mosasaurs, but not Tylosaurus. Tylosaurus, like, didn't have anything to do with ossifying its legs.
Jesus Christ. Son, run!
Oh.
I'm being murdered by a suchomimus.
And then on top of that, their hips don't have a bony articulation with their spine.
They do
So-
lie.
Their rear legs are not helping. And their front legs are like floppy. Like they can't, I mean, maybe. And I would say maybe like mosasaurids. But probably not.
Also, we've gotten a couple super chats to wrap us up here.
Yes, we have.
From Cyber Dino. Thanks for the motivation and advice on PhD stuff. I've heard the Evo Biolab, the head of the Evo Biolab, is helping me with my application to SDSU. Hey,
Fantastic.
fingers crossed. on that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good luck.
And we're
Yeah.
happy for the small role we've played in it, but I'm sure that is
Absolutely. Hey, hope that
more
you get
you
it.
than us, right? Congratulations.
Yeah,
well, good luck. Not congratulations
Good
yet.
luck.
Don't want to jinx it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's Paleo AK92. There we go.
Yep.
Rad. Awesome. Yes. And again from Matthew McCormick. Good night.
Yes.
Good
Oh,
night
and
to
then
you guys, too.
Wanayala863. It's a synonym, but Turtis Rex was the name. That's great.
There you go.
We love
Wait,
Turtis
really?
Rex. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
King of the turds.
Well, I really find it unfortunate that the American Robin's genus name is Turtis. That doesn't feel nice.
No. But I think we should
Wrap up.
congratulate Amelia
Yes, we should.
once again
Indeed.
on the really, truly excellent paper.
Thank you.
In fact, I will say something, because earlier today when the paper came out, I texted Amelia privately, and I said, I won't debase myself by complimenting you publicly, but this is a very good piece of work, and you should be proud of it. But I'm willing to make that statement public. It's a very, very good paper, and it's doing a lot of really important stuff. It's setting a real standard for how you should document anatomy and do all of this. And all of our statements about the fact that it is not always possible aside, it would be better if every paper were like this. Right? At the very least, it's something to aspire to. So, congratulations, Amelia.
Thank you.
Very well done.
And thank you everybody for being here and asking great questions. And thank you to the two ichthyosaurs for like chaperoning because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yes, and thank you, Kirsten, for making space for us on your server.
Yes, thank you very
Indeed.
much. It's almost a pleasure to be back here. Every time I play this game, I slightly understand it a little bit more. And just slightly, though.
I'm flying the Ramphorhynchus as high as possible, and now I'm going to dive bomb into this rock and try to kill myself instantly.
Do it, Alex. Be free.
We're zipping. Salute.
We are. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream. I'm going to give 5 seconds of everybody making peace with the fact
I
that the stream will end.
survived. Half health. That's it. Like, they really are. Whatever.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. I'm just going to let myself
bye.
be murdered by a Suchomimus here. And I am going to stop
Bye-bye.
streaming.